Welcome, everybody, and for some of you, it's welcome back because this is Pool B of the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship. We have 6 more stars that are going to shine today, and once again, just like this morning, I'm joined by Grandmaster Ben Feingold, Benzu, for those ChessKid veterans out there. Benzu, how are you?
I'm doing great. That was a good break that we had. I'm ready for some more exciting chess.
And I don't know if baseball players change uniforms between doubleheaders, but I changed my shirt. It is a Chess.com shirt. I won't make my engineers mad. I'll very quickly rotate my camera back up. But clean shirt, ready to go. And yeah, we have the same format. But if you're not a diehard ChessKid or Chess.com youth purist, you may not know what it is because you may not have been with us this morning. Let's take a look at it. Ben, why don't you call it this time? What is the action that we're going to see today?
Okay, so we're going to look at 6 players this afternoon for us. It's a 12-player tournament. The first 6 played this morning. It's groups of 6, and each player plays the other 5 players twice. Double round robin, 10 rounds. Now, 10 rounds might sound like a lot, but the time control is 3 + 1, so the games don't take very long. And of the 6 players, the top 2 players from each group advance to tomorrow's knockout, and you can watch Mike and I tomorrow. We had 2 people qualify for tomorrow. The morning group, we're going to have 2 more people from these 6 qualify for tomorrow. And then tomorrow, the semifinals are best of 4 games, and the finals is a best of 6 games.
Well done. Good breakdown. And yes, Victor was victorious. Victor Golis of Poland advanced today, and so did Rayanj Chakrabarti from Australia. So who will join them? We've got 3 Americans today, 1 Canadian, and 2 English players. So it just kind of worked out that way time zone-wise that all of these players are playing in the later event. There we see our sextet of players, International Master Aaron Mendes, the only IM of the field. He earned his title in December of 2024 by winning the North America Youth Championship in the under-18 division. We've got FIDE Master Patrick Liu, who loves ChessKid so much he once played an event from China, but I think he's playing from California today. Candidate Master Supratit Banerjee from England. WFM Bodhana Sivanandan, also from England. She just got done playing a league match. She's doing a doubleheader herself today. And we've got FIDE Master Andrew Jing and FIDE Master elect, if that's a term, Megan Paragua, fresh off her 2,500 performance in Granky, where she earned the FIDE Master title. Once she gives FIDE her 80 euros, she will get that title, Ben.
Yeah, the U.S. Chess Federation doesn't pay for that. Come on, guys.
I had to pay for mine, but what do you think of this field in comparison to our morning field, Ben?
This field has a lot more American players that I've heard of. And I've seen play before. This field has our only IM in the tournament, the Canadian Mendes. So this is going to be, again, just like the first group. I think any of the 6 players can qualify for the top 2. And I think it's going to go down to the final 2 rounds. And I wouldn't be surprised if anybody qualifies.
Yeah, now back in 2023, back when our premier event was called the ChessKid Youth Speed Chess Championship, Aaron Mendes won it all that year. He was our grand champion. And competing that year were Patrick Liu and Megan Paragua, along with Fausti. So we had some big names that year. We'll see if Aaron can continue his good form when he plays in ChessKid events. But yeah, these names are a little bit more familiar to people. And especially Megan, because we wrote an entire news article about her just this past week on Chess.com. She just missed an IM, and she was even chasing, I believe, a GM performance over in Granky. But 2,500 performance rating, that's higher than I've ever done. And we know you've done that several times because you've got that GM title by your name.
It's been a long time, but thanks.
Well, you earned it. And of course, the last name, Paragua, we can actually see her on the screen there, is familiar to other people in the Grandmaster Club because her uncle is Mark Paragua. So there she is. She's actually great in interviews. She joined me from the Frankfurt airport on her way back to USA and gave a quick interview with me. But she's great on camera. And I think all these kids are very talented. But if Megan ends up finishing the top 2 and we interview her, you'll want to stay around for that interview. So in the morning, it took 6.5 points to be able to advance. That's kind of maybe a key number that these players are looking for. Just to give you an idea of the 10 rounds, 6.5 probably gets you at least into a tiebreak, but it was good enough to advance this morning.
Yeah, anybody can win. As we saw in the morning, player who came in last got 1.5 out of 2 against the player who came in first. So we're not going to see anybody get 8.5, 9 points. There's not going to be a runaway. And it's easy to go on a streak. Sometimes it's a winning streak. Sometimes it's a losing streak. And people can go up in the standings very quickly in blitz chess just by winning 2 or 3 games in a row.
Well said. And I've got a quick trivia question for the chat. If you read our Chess.com news articles, you have a small advantage in everybody else. But when Megan became 2,300 earlier this month, or actually late last month, she became the 6th youngest female player of all time to become 2,300. Who did she bump to number 7? That's your trivia question, chat. Who was the 6th youngest? And of course, I'm not asking some random question where it's an obscure player. It's a very famous female player. So chat, you can type it in. And if I happen to catch it, you get your name announced on there. I know Danny likes to give away diamond memberships. I don't have the kind of clout. I actually do, but yeah. I'm not going to talk about that. just for posterity, Ben.
Yeah. I think even I'm allowed to give diamond memberships away on my channel.
Yeah, you probably are. We can talk about that, but it's too much work. Is that mean of me to say? We've got some players setting up that looks like Aaron on camera. Aaron is our highest rated. He's our only international master. I think he's catching a quick bite to eat. Hey, no harm in that. I'd caught a quick bite. I got a fresh cup of coffee here because, like I said, we are doing double duty. But he got the automatic IM title, Ben. He's only, I guess, 12 years old, and he played in the under 18 section at the North American Youth Championship. And when you win that tournament, you were automatically conferred the title. And guess what? That makes him the youngest international master in Canadian history. So he will probably be on the national team at some point. By the way, Bodhana was on the national team last year. She played for the English women's team. And that was so cool to see that England was looking toward the future. And they played her in a lot of rounds. It wasn't like they just played her 1 or 2 rounds. She played, I would say, more than half the rounds.
Yeah, and Aaron has a rating that's higher than a lot of international masters. He's definitely title worthy. Hopefully he read my book, Eat Like a Grandmaster, so he can play well this session and qualify for tomorrow.
Yes, that would be great to see. And there's been a resurgence of chess in Canada. We had the candidates tournament there. And I believe that big things are happening. I know I'm in touch with a lot of the scholastic organizations that teach all over Canada. And I can tell you, a lot more of them are using ChessKid, which is great to hear. So more people using ChessKid, more people playing chess, great for Canada. And I would say all of the countries represented today, Ben. In the morning, we had Australia, we had Romania, we had Poland. All of those countries are experiencing big chess renaissances. Even Kazakhstan is having their day in the sun.
Yeah, I've been a coach at some of the World Youth and World Cadets in my time, and Kazakhstan has good junior players.
They do. They've got some good funding. And there was even talk about ChessKid being used in the Kazakh or Kazakhstani language. We might get around to that one day. There's a lot of countries that want us to translate into their language. But I can say that they're fantastic hosts. When I was there for the World Championship, the Kazakhstani people were so gracious. And that's not just me saying that because I'd like a return ticket to the St. Regis, which was the nicest hotel I've ever stayed in. But St. Regis, if you're listening, I will take a 1-week stay if you'd like to, pony up.
That's funny because when Karen and I went on our honeymoon 5 years ago to Rome, we stayed at the St. Regis and it was very nice. So I agree.
Okay, well, we are in alignment there. We are not in alignment of who's going to win this afternoon session because we simply don't know. But we're going to get on the phone with St. Regis, see if they will sponsor our upcoming session. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have all the action of these 6 players and their double round robin. So don't go anywhere. ChessKid Youth Championship Pool B coming up right after the break. Welcome back, everybody. We are seconds away from the opening moves of the second pool of the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship. I'm once again joined by Grandmaster Ben Feingold. The players are ready. The moves are about to start. Ben, I'd love for you to tell us about the pairings who we're going to see in round one of this 10-round event.
Okay, so we have Aaron Mendes, our only IM, playing Bodhana. And then we have Banerjee playing Paragua on board 2, although they're not really board numbers. And American player Patrick Liu playing fellow American Andrew Jing. So all strong matchups. I don't know who the favorite is in any game. These ratings are usually not completely accurate with junior players. Usually they're much stronger than their rating. So highest rated player is the only IM in the event, Aaron Mendes. But as we see, that doesn't mean much in blitz chess with children. They all play really well, and whoever can hold their nerve when both sides have less than 30 seconds usually does pretty well.
Yeah, pretty much every game from the morning round, one player got below 30, often below 5 seconds. And just to add to your point, Ben, about the players being underrated, we're basically showing their ratings at the time of invite. But Super Teat, just to take one player, has gained 170 points in the year 2025. And he's now technically in FM. He's 2,300. If he just, pays his 80 euros, he goes from CM to FM just like that. So that's just one example. All of these players have higher ratings than they're actually shown on the screen. But I'm really looking forward to who is going to advance to tomorrow's semifinal and final. And when the first moves begin in Aaron Mendes versus Bodhana, we will go to that game first. These players look ready. Bodhana has had a long day. She played a classical game in her 4 NCL match. I don't know how her team did, but she got a draw. She was white. She played against the French. She played the modern Tarrasch. I have no idea if Aaron watched that game, but Aaron is white in their opening encounter. That may be important information when he plays her again as black, because everyone plays everyone twice, once as each color.
Well, that's a good preparation if your opponent played a game earlier the same day and you prepared for it. Wow.
Oh yeah, well, you're a product of some of the American Opens. I know you lived in Europe for a while, but sometimes you got to play 2 games in a day.
Yeah, my greatest accomplishment as a chess player was I played the last round at Texas Tech, one of the Spice Cup tournaments. Then I flew to Chicago and I played round 1 that evening. So wow. I've never done that before or since. Played one tournament and then flew across the country and played another tournament the same day.
That's amazing. My greatest prep story is I had to play Greg Shahade in the Danker Tournament of High School Champions at 9 a.m. one morning. And I went and looked at his U.S. Open game the night before. And after Sunil Weramantry's Hikaru's stepfather played e4, Greg thought for 30 minutes before avoiding his normal Sicilian. And I found out afterward that he was afraid of the Grand Prix. Little did he know he was playing me the next morning. So I woke up the next morning, spent 5 minutes studying the Grand Prix, and I played it against Greg, and we agreed to a draw in 7 moves. So that is how you draw an IM. Just pay attention.
That's right. Yeah, play what they're scared of.
Right. And I'm scared of all these kids, but luckily I am not the emergency player in case one of them cannot play today. Neither are you, Ben. We are making sure that the players they're in the right place. Their connection is good. We want everything to run well, and we want these kids to have a great experience. So we're just waiting on that. We see Megan right there, our newest 2,300. She just made her rating at Granky. And Megan is playing against Super Teat. There we see 2 other players, the 2 Americans, Patrick and Andrew. One of them, good lighting. One of them playing in the dark. Sometimes that's easier, though. We're off and running, Ben. Here we go.
Yeah,
we have E4. Moves. We have moves, E4. And will she play the Sicilian? I bet she will. Let's see. Hopefully she's aware that E4 isn't played on the board. She goes for the French. So actually kind of interesting. She played against the French in 4 NCL. Now she's playing it as black.
2 Frenches in one day. And there'll probably be a few more. Lots of games today.
There will be. I've actually played this as a junior player against the French. I played this 2 knights variation. And what sometimes happens, knight f6 was more the main line when I was a kid. So now I cannot speak with any level of knowledge. But just, normal position. White has more space. Black hopes to have no weaknesses. And there's your French in 2 seconds.
Yeah, this is transposing into another variation of the French, just regular French. Uh, oh, Black played an early knight c6, indicating that Bodhana wants to play e5 pretty early. White's
I was going to
stopping
ask you.
e5.
I was going to ask you about that, Ben. Would you cut off your chances of playing c5 by playing knight c6 so early? Because now, if you don't get e5 in, you have nothing.
Right, that's very unusual to play knight c6 before c5. Often the knight goes to d7 also. So this is an unusual way for white to play, for black to play. Excuse me. The engine doesn't like it. It likes white. They castled opposite sides, so it's going to be an exciting attack for somebody.
Yeah, I'm already liking Aaron's position. Notice in a lot of those positions, black wasn't even able to play e5, even if the pawn was protected, because of various tactics on the queen. And we have this pawn on h6. We call that a hook pawn because literally white often latches onto it by playing g4, g5 to blow open the king. But instead, he decides to blow open the center. And as long as the queen has a place to hide, this actually kind of frees black's position a little bit.
No, I agree. That I don't think d5 was correct. I think white should have played, as you suggested, more aggressively on the king side.
Now, I just
Seems
want to go
like
back a move. We don't have a question for you, Ben. Sorry to cut you off. Was Queen G6 fancy, but all much ado about nothing? Or what do you think about this move?
it's pretty risky because black can move the knight to either e5 or d8, attacking the bishop on d5, which is maybe knight e5 is better because that attacks the queen twice.
Yeah, you're right. Black does have an equally impressive defensive move. So there we go. My first mini blunder of the day. Let's get back to the live position. And well, at least she's freed her position, and there's no semblance of a kingside attack. So all in all, I'd rather have this position for black than a couple of moves ago.
Yeah, that's right. Black sort of escaped her difficulties, and white's still better because white has a little more dominance in the center. But I think black can be happy with the position they have compared to what it was 6 or 7 moves ago.
Okay, there is this knight f4 move, which is now stopped because the rook defends the queen. But there's no major pawn weaknesses for Bodhana. She's still got a little bit of a development issue. She'd love to move her queen up, but her rook is hanging. Her rook has no productive square. But yet she may have to move the rook anyway just to get out of harm's way.
Yeah, the rook on a8 is not very good. Though, well, I was going to say it's hard for white to start attacking because all the squares are defended. But now Bodhana undefended the e5 square, but I guess she doesn't care because that just leads to trades. So bishop g5 check is interesting. I'd like to play queen f6, rook d8, but as you pointed out, my rook on a8 would be hanging. So I'm not sure what black's follow-up is to bishop f4.
I like that Aaron did not take, of course, because after queen takes, a lot of pieces would leave the board. And here the axiom holds when you've got more space, you do not want to make trades. So he didn't want to go into that endgame. But now, got to trade queens. Bishop takes. Okay, the rook gets to the 7th, but she does have bishop versus knight. So doesn't look terrible. As long as you can kick this rook, Ben, do you think black is going to be able to expel that rook?
I don't know. I like that rook a lot. I don't like black's rook. White's king can walk up on the queen side, go to c4 and b5. Black's going to have a tough time expelling the rook on the 7th rank. So I think white has a nice advantage here.
I'm not going to go back, but it may have been. Yeah, the knight's recovering to a good light square, but it may have been the rook that wanted to go there where you jettison the a-pawn and your rook comes down. That moment, of course, is long past, but maybe she should have gone for active defense. She's gone for very passive defense, and that's tough to deal with.
Yeah, and also, just like this morning, there's big time difference in some of the games. And Bodhana's clock isn't good compared to her opponents.
Yeah, I'm counting on you for the clock. You always seem to notice it a lot more than I do, but it is absolutely a weapon. And this knight is just picking and choosing which light squares it likes. C4 was pretty good, but D5 is even better. He can even anchor the knight with C4, although he doesn't even need to. The knight is just strong by himself on D5. I think we're going to see it appear there in about 2 seconds, and there we go.
Yeah, and I think instead of white playing C4, white should move his king up via C4, which is what he's doing. Black is just super passive. And she does pitch a pawn to activate her rook, which, as you pointed out, she probably would have done earlier, should have done earlier. Fortunately, uh, Black has 10 seconds and White has more than a minute, and now White's winning on the board.
Yeah, and the bishop is totally dominated by the knight. I mean, her pieces can barely move. It's a bit unfortunate, actually. It's just the way the pairings worked out, where she had to play the number one player as Black after a long classical chess game. We weren't trying to be mean to Bodhana. We love her, but that is how it works out. And you know what? She's not fazed by anything. She plays against older people all the time. She doesn't actually play at too many kid events, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and this is a hopeless position. So Black is hoping that White blunders. White's up 3 pawns currently. Black's going to win one of them back, but defending the G pawn or the C pawn wins.
I would defend the C pawn, and White does. It's almost a sin to give up that strong knight for the B pawn. Of course, you're trading one totally winning position for another, and it should not be too hard here. But okay, things will get easier for Bodhana. She will not have Black against the number one player every single game. And we'll see if she continues her French defense or not. But pretty impressive from Aaron. He didn't go for the most aggressive option, but he leaned on his opponent the whole game and was better from start to finish.
Yeah,
we're going to assume that he's able. Yeah, we're going to assume he's able to pull this one out.
Yep.
Super Teat is looking to right the ship for the English team, and he's got a winning position against Megan. But can Megan get the pawn off the board and make it bishop and rook versus rook, which is a theoretical draw? She's going to try.
Yeah, shouldn't be able to. Should be a fairly simple win.
Yeah, that pawn is going downtown. It's actually mate if you promote to rook or queen. Super Teat gets on the board, so one of the English players is in the books with a win. And just to wrap things up, we didn't get to take a look at it, but Andrew Jing won as Black against his countryman, Patrick Liu. So just like in the morning round, Ben, 3 winners in the first 3 games. And just like the morning round, White wins 2, Black wins 1. Aaron, Super Teat, Andrew, all winners. And the other 3 players are going to look to right the ship in round 2.
Yeah, very exciting round. 3 decisive games like we saw this morning. Seemed like Aaron Mendes was in control most of the game. And it's too bad for Bodhana that she had to wake up early today and play a slow game, then get from the tournament to where she's playing now. So she's having a busy day like we are. But we get to sit back and look at the moves. We don't have to play good moves.
That's true. And fortunately for her, it's not quite as late as it was for Rayanch. It's only 7:30 p.m. in the UK. She's actually played ChessKid events before as late as 9 or 10 p.m. So you're right, though. Energy level is probably not tip-top, but it's just one game. Remember, 6.5 probably punches your ticket. She's got 9 more rounds to try to get to that score. And in round 2, we're going to look at another all-USA matchup. Patrick already got done playing Andrew Jing. Now Patrick takes Black against Megan Paragua, the newest FM in the US. And I did not look at chat, Ben, to answer my trivia question, so now I will do so. Megan is the 6th youngest female player of all time to get to 2,300. Who did she bump to number 7? Grandmaster Ho Yifan. She is now in the record books as being younger than Ho Yifan to that rating. Don't know if we can extrapolate that she will reach Ho Yifan levels, but impressive. I do hope one thing, Ben, that she at least plays professionally for a couple of years. But she's only in 6th grade. I can tell you that I'm going to see her next weekend because she's playing at the Super Nationals. She's in the 6th grade, but playing in the K-12 section to try to help her team, Columbia Grammar School. And on that same team are Tani and International Master Nico Chassim. So that is a pretty good team. And we have ourselves a Panov. Yeah, it's a great team. Panov Botvinnik attack. And once again, Ben, maybe you can tell us some of the main themes of this opening.
Okay, so Megan played early c5, trying to gain space on the queen side. Black is doing all he can to attack all of those pawns. Players are playing super fast, like they know the position. White has passed c pawn, and White's playing super aggressively with her knights. And Black just decided to try to trade the white squared bishops, usually something Black wants to do with all of his pawns in the center on white squares. And looks like both players know what they're doing, and Megan is just playing very aggressively. The engine says black is okay, but I have problems with black in these positions. I used to have black in the Caro-Kann a lot, and I didn't like facing this particular line from white's from black's point of view when white played c5 and just has protected passed pawn at the end of the opening. So I like these positions for white. The engine doesn't agree, says black's doing fine. So we'll see. Okay, now it says white's doing great. So evaluation changes because it's a blitz game. But I think just in particular, it's much more difficult to play black in these positions. B4 pawn could be lost. The C5 pawn could become strong. The white knights are very active. So it just, from a human perspective, I like white a lot, although maybe I'm overstating it. I think because I have black in these positions, I don't like them for black.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea of how difficult this is for black to play, the b4 pawn is very precarious, and black had to find the not natural rook on a5 to a6 so that bishop takes can be answered by rook takes knight. Not an easy idea to find, but Patrick did use his time to find the correct line, thus making his disadvantage minimal. Let's get back to the live position. Here we are, and he managed to get rid of the c5 pawn. I would actually kind of love to see how. Oh, he just sacked the exchange.
Always
Okay.
sack the exchange.
And we are in a live position. So he must have thought his position was quite desperate, but actually the computer says the exchange sack was the way to go. He has halved, he's gone from minus 0.8 to minus 0.4, if you want to get very technical in this position.
Yeah, now black has a lot more freedom, just has less material. Black follows my rule of always sacking the exchange. Then black breaks my rule, never play f6. Now it's time for white to follow or break some of my rules.
Okay, F6, we have an emote. We've got a Fun Master Mike emote. I'm sure we've got a Benzu emote, and we've got an F6 emote. So chat, you should be crushing us with emotes in the chat right now because you have your pick of whatever you'd like to do. And getting back to the chess, generally, Ben, when you're down the exchange, you want to close off lines. And actually, there aren't a lot of open lines for the rook right now, but there could be. The C file has some potential. And if the A pawn trades for the B pawn, the rooks will have even more open files. Although that would limit the amount of board that black has to defend to one side. So I don't even know if white should be going for a pawn trade or not.
I really like the move knight a5. So I was expecting the engine to say it was bad because the engine hates my moves. But the engine said knight a5 is good. The queen on a6 defends the e6 pawn, and now the knight can go to c4. Black's knights are clearly better than white's rooks. So I think black's doing fine after the exchange sacrifice.
That's good analysis. And you're starting to convince me that Patrick really maybe even knew that exchange sacrifice was an idea, to be completely honest with you, because he didn't waste a lot of time playing it. And Megan has now come back to the same time as Patrick trying to figure out how to deal with these knights.
Yeah, it looks like Patrick is a Bob Seger fan. He's working on his knight moves, and he's going to put his knights on c4 and e4. And one thing is for sure is that Patrick Lou has heard of Bob Seger.
Probably not. Let's take a look at all three boards there we see on the screen. Unfortunately, Bodhana, she doesn't look like she's going to score in this game either, unless she pulls the rabbit out of a hat. She is down a knight and a pawn, and even 30 seconds on the clock. Saw somebody in chat say that the schedule is brutal. Just want to make everything clear. She had the option of playing or not, and she knew going in what the schedule was going to be. So anyway, we're not, don't want you to think that we're abusing kids or anything. We love Bodhana, but she just loves chess so much, she wanted to play both events.
Yeah, playing 10 3-minute games isn't egregious. That might be hard for me, but when you're 11, 12 years old, it's a lot easier.
There we see Aaron with a slight advantage over Super T Banerjee. And of course, we just got done looking at our big screen where Megan and Patrick are equal, but maybe Patrick has the better side of equal because he has those really, really strong knights. So a lot to play for here. But keeping a look at the Bodhana game, is there anything she could try? Any kind of weird stalemates? Her king is not really in a stalemate position. Okay, she went for mate. That's something.
Threatened checkmate instead of stalemate.
Yeah, well, that would be even better. See, you could almost, if your king moves to, actually, wait a minute. If your king moves to f4 and then you play rook takes h6. Okay, I fabricated a stalemate. Yeah.
She
okay.
played the wrong king move. That's too bad. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so it wasn't quite stalemate. We were trying to, fabricate her way into half point. So tough start for Bodhana. But Andrew Jing, did he win against Patrick Liu? I think he did. He's 2-0, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So very, very good start for Patrick as I mute myself over on this machine.
Let's go back to the Megan game because both sides have no time. And the game's really heating up. Black's completely winning now.
At some point, White sacked the exchange to get one of those knights off of the chessboard. They're both off the chessboard, but the problem is that this e-pawn is going to become a d-pawn and going downtown. How do you stop rook c8, rook c1? Going to be tough. You can defend your rook. It's about all you can do, though. I would actually play bishop c5 there, trade bishop for knight, and then just walk my king down the board. It's a different way to win. Maybe not the most professional, but...
No, I like your way of winning. I don't like the fact that Black has 2 or 3 seconds left.
That is true. Anything can happen, and a lot of pawns are leaving the board. Yep.
I like the way both players aren't acting like they have 1 second left. They just look totally nonplussed about the situation.
Yeah, you're true. It's true. That's a good observation. Kids these days, right? Okay, she's still winning, but if she loses the d-pawn, it's going to get a lot harder to win because a blockade could happen. She did lose the d-pawn, but now she's got to figure out how to win this game all over again and also not lose on time, as Ben pointed out.
Well, Megan's white, so she won the d-pawn.
Sorry. Yes. Thank you. My first major mistake. I got the American flags mixed up. I forgot it was all USA.
USA. Well, the engine says Black isn't winning anymore, but both sides still have 2 seconds.
Yeah, plant the king on f3 and move your knight around and don't get your knight traded. And that is going to be the way to make a draw in this game. So Megan holds the draw from out of nowhere. No time on her clock and facing that really, really evil d-pawn. She doesn't want to pre-move her knight to a dark square that's attacked, though. Should be pretty easy to find safe.
A lot more time in the last 10 moves. They've gained a lot of seconds with the increment.
Yep, we're either going to see 50 moves or she actually moved her king, but I hope she's not thinking about trying to win this game.
I think she wants to put her knight on f3.
Yep. And now we've got to play 50 moves all over again. Well, not really, but we're not going to get a threefold repetition because the king's on a different square for white. But we still see the knight running around the chessboard. The crazy chicken going back to f3.
Yeah, we saw a draw in the other game. So we have 2 draws this round, but both very exciting.
Absolutely. That one could have gone either way. And a draw for Megan, not the worst thing that can happen so early in the event. But once again, Andrew Jing on 2-0. Aaron Mendes still undefeated. He's got 1.5. Super T has got 1.5. Patrick has a lone draw. Megan has a lone draw. And Bodhana is looking to get on the board there. Megan pulling her hair back because she knows it's going to be a long day. But pretty exciting so far, Ben.
Yeah, the games are exciting, just like they were this morning. Just based on looking at the ratings that are published here, the lowest rated player is 2-0. It shows you what ratings mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And these ratings are pretty much at the time of invitation. But I've been checking all of their classical experience last couple of months, and pretty much all of them are gaining points faster than you or I ever will. Yes, you, the one listening. But that's what makes them so impressive. They're actually improving faster than the ratings can keep up with. I believe, Ben, one of the players we've not looked at yet is Andrew, who is on 2-0. So I think we kind of need to go look at his game next against Megan.
The All-American matchup.
Yes, it's going to happen a lot today. We do have 4 North Americans, 3 Americans, and two English players. Bodhana is actually playing the later of the pools because she is accommodating that 4 NCL game. That's one of the reasons she's one of the few Europeans playing this late schedule. And actually, you know what, Ben? Super Teat is also playing 4 NCL. I totally forgot this fact, but I'm almost positive Super Teat played a league match today too.
Man, busy today.
I'll have to look that up. If anybody wants to go to chess.com/events and look at the 4 NCL action today, you can tell us in chat if Super Teat did in fact play. We have the KIA versus the Sicilian.
Yeah, I always like these lines for white because I play Sicilian. I used to play the French, and when I got these positions, I always felt uncomfortable. And this already seems very good for white.
I'm actually in the middle of a chess.com staff tournament where I'm playing the King's Indian attack versus the French. So I wonder if it's considered outside help if you give me instruction on it right now.
Yeah, I could never tell you how white should continue to play, but this is different than a lot of variations where white keeps the pawn on d3 and starts attacking on the king's side. Seems like Andrew's trying to get an advantage in the center.
Yeah, you're right. This game has taken a little bit of a different turn. We're not just throwing all of our pawns up on the king side. And it's actually a little bit weird to get your pawn to d5 as white. Usually white goes for e5 in a lot of these positions. And Andrew moves his knight backward rather than playing knight 5. That's -7 Ben points.
That's right. Very good. You knew.
I did.
And this looks like black's playing a Ruy Lopez.
A little bit. Yeah, there's a knight on a5. It's a Zaitsev, for those of you that are following us. The bishop on g2 doesn't make very much sense, but
no.
Yeah. Other than
white has a nice space advantage in the center. Black doesn't have a lot of counterplay. This is a very good position for white.
And actually, even though you were joking, it does bring up the point that the study of a lot of openings is very helpful because sometimes openings morph, pawn structures change, and you might end up in a position where you need to play like Karpov in the closed Ruy Lopez.
Yeah, white has a little more time on the clock, and white has a better position. It's difficult to play black because you're not sure where to put your pieces. Knight g4, white just played bishop d2. Ooh, knight b7 is a blunder, it says.
Okay, let's figure out why. I'm going to guess this knight on... Yeah, knight in, and the bishop is trying to stay glued to this knight. But if you take, then when I take back, both of your knights will be hanging, and that is not a good situation. So this bishop is essentially overworked.
Yeah, after knight d5, knight c6, I should say, black has to play something like queen e8. It's very passive.
Yeah, then you just have to live with that knight, I guess, although the computer is just saying that it's totally over. It looks bad, but does it look -4 bad? I don't know.
I think after knight c6, like queen e8, white plays knight takes b5 and has some tactical tricks on the c file.
Okay. But if you're black, you want to hang in there because knight c6 is one thing, but it's a little bit harder as white to find knight b5. So what to do when you're losing is actually my future Chessable course that I'm still meaning to record one day when I get around to it.
Yeah, white didn't play the tactical line. White just played h3, keeping his big advantage. But now black isn't completely lost anymore.
Yep, still hard to find a plan for black. But this is also why it's called the Spanish torture. I know this was not a Spanish opening, but it might be the Filipina torture unless she comes up with something. Okay, what would you take with here, Ben?
The rook.
Okay, the rook was captured. There we see the players, by the way. Accuracy scores are going down just a little bit. But as we mentioned before a few minutes ago, black has less space. Black's starting to make some trades. That's usually beneficial for the side with less space.
Yeah, and as I pointed out this morning, sometimes when you have a better position, you're trying to figure out how to increase your advantage. You take too much time on the clock doing that. That's exactly what Andrew did. He was ahead on the clock. He spent a lot of time on the move h3, trying to improve his position more, put black under pressure, and it cost him a lot of time on the clock. Now Megan's ahead on the clock.
And we can actually take a look at all the games here in round 3. We won't go away from this action. We'll just add to the fun. And there we can see that Aaron looks poised to go to 2.5 out of 3, totally winning against Patrick Liu. The rooks are lined up against Patrick's king and queen. Very strong pawns by black. And we'll see if Aaron, our number 1 player, our IM, is able to convert that. Super Teat in an all England matchup so far has got the best against Bodhana.
Yeah, white has the big space advantage. White's up a pawn. Black's bishop is buried on h8. So it's very difficult to play black. Later on, white can play something like b4 and open up the queen side. So this position is very tough for black. So Bodhana's having a rough start. Happens to all of us.
It does. It's almost hard to figure out how her bishop on h8 ever gets in the game. She can try to set up a fortress. She didn't have a way to set up a fortress because the d6 pawn was that weakness that I didn't even see. So tough start. Super Teat looks like he's going to get, is it his first win? No, actually, he would move to 2.5 out of 3 as well. Mm-hmm. And he would be equal with Aaron Mendes if he's able to finish this off.
Yeah, that game's just over.
So in the closest contest, we still have parity in this Andrew Jing versus Megan Paragua matchup. She's gotten all the rooks off the board, and she might just shut everything down with h4, although she could just trade pawns, and that pretty much still shuts everything down. So maybe white can't break through here.
No, the engine says it's equal, but Megan has a nice time advantage, which probably doesn't matter much. White can just move around. And this is looking like a draw because I don't see how either player wins unless somebody goes crazy. And it's funny, h4 looks like somebody should be winning now, and the engine still says it's equal. But things opened up a lot. h4 is a very risky move when you have less time on the clock.
Yeah. In the words of Teddy KGB, very aggressive. I think if I was white, I would just understand that I'm worse on the clock. Oh, but now a sacrifice, and the knight on f6 is hanging if this is taken. So it's actually turning out to be good. Go ahead and eat the Oreo, because that's a deep Teddy KGB reference. Now it looks like white is going to win this game.
Yeah, white's winning, but G pawn strong. I don't know. Now Megan has 5 seconds left. Knight takes d5.
Knight takes d5.
It's too exciting.
Yeah, and the knight was going to come to f4, and the g pawn was going to promote. So now nobody wants a draw in this game, and black may actually collect all of the pawns, but it should still be a draw because you can definitely stop one pawn. I don't know why white's not stopping it.
I think both players have enough time where nothing's going to happen.
Yeah,
white can pretty. We have decisive results for the other 2 games.
We do. We don't have 50 moves. Megan almost had to play 50 moves or so twice in a row, but not quite. She gets a draw in this game. Super Teat does go to 2.5 out of 3 by beating Bodhana. We wish the best for Bodhana. Get back in there, Bodhana. We love you. And then Aaron also goes to 2.5 out of 3 by beating Patrick Liu. So we have got 3 players on 2.5 out of 3. Super Teat, Aaron, and Andrew. It's becoming a 3-person race early. Ben, we were talking about the Braves 0-7 start. It's getting late early for some of these players, but Megan, Patrick, and Bodhana, just know you still control your own destiny, because probably if you win the rest of your games, you will still qualify. That's the cool part about our format. So pretty exciting. Any surprises in this opening action, Ben, before we go to break?
I can't really be surprised because I didn't know who the favorite was. I assumed the one player with the IM title was probably going to be a favorite in the tournament, and he's doing well. Everybody else, if the lowest rated player beats the highest rated player, I'm not surprised. And anybody who's doing badly now, that's the good part of the double round robin. They get a chance for revenge later. So that's good.
Absolutely. They will all get a chance for revenge later, and we will get a chance to bring you more of these star players from around the world. The 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship. We'll come back after this break. We will do rounds 4 through 6. Don't go anywhere. We will see if these 3 players are allowed to hold on to their lead and if the other 3 players are able to make a comeback. Don't go anywhere. Me and Benzu coming back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Were you afraid of the whole country watching? Feel embarrassed as well? Wonderful.
It's edited. I think it's edited.
Yeah, it's clearly.
But it's close to how it was, but it's a little bit edited. Yeah.
Not a little bit. It's completely edited.
No, but it really was like that. Yeah. Like the Eval bar in Hikaru's videos. Yeah. Right? Edited. Edited afterwards by the editor. Not how it really happened. Afterwards, taken from somewhere else and placed in the middle. And then squeezed.
You know, before this, I thought I would be the one getting into trouble. Now I think it's you.
Lawyered. Okay.
As VD, I would play rook e8, bishop c3, queen h4, queen b2, queen h5, and then bishop e2, queen g5, bishop f1, bishop f7, h4.
Better than Hikaru's lines. Better than those lines that Hikaru rattles out.
Hikaru learned from somewhere.
Yeah,
Actually,
because Hikaru likes that thing.
Hikaru
when
was
he's-
in Norway. This was
yeah, but Hikaru's was like completely off. Like I checked it afterwards with the engine, the line makes no sense at all. Yeah, it makes no sense at all, that line.
I think only the head bob was missing here. Like Hikaru was doing this.
Ah, true. Wow.
That's a good one. We have to watch again.
No, this is a good one, yeah.
It's a really good one.
Yeah, some good editing there. Wow.
Nice.
Ooh, slick. Okay.
Nice.
Oof, awkward. Yeah, this whole thing is like.
But I think
it's embarrassing when you play candidates and you.
He does it on, like, you know, he knows the content game. So it's not like Hikaru doesn't know the spelling of Nepo.
All right, we're here for another world premiere. This one, fencing chess with one chief chess officer to another. I'm excited about fencing chess. What about you, Danny?
I'm super excited. This is innovative and never been done before.
All right, well, you need a weapon. So there you go. We got these from Burger King. And, well, let's get going. Are you ready?
As soon as we start,
Okay, I think we touch swords. Okay, here we go. All right, we are rolling. All right, it's working.
You can't. Okay, it has to be
Working.
square.
Nailed it.
That was the
Nailed
rule.
it.
That was the rule.
Do they fence in Sicily?
Yeah.
Here we go.
There we go.
All right, this is a winning move if I can make
Okay.
it.
I don't know that this is as exciting as we thought it was.
I use the two-hand technique. They don't teach you about that on YouTube.
Yeah,
You know what? This is not going to work.
not gonna work.
We got to come up with something else.
I agree.
Oh, well, wait a minute. We just happen to have some partners in crime with USA Fencing joining us. So if one of them scores a point or a touch, then the corresponding partner gets to make a move. Capturing the king wins the game. That's it. That's all. I will let you start not the joust, the battle. The bout.
It's about. Come on, Mike. All right, Anna, you got
All
this.
right.
Let's go, Anna. Go, Anna. Go, Anna. Come on. Yes, aggressive. Okay, so Sasha scored?
No, Anna scored.
Anna scored.
Yeah, she almost
Let's
ran
go.
show up the mat.
Okay,
It's not-
black moves first in
Okay.
this game,
Yeah.
apparently. Let's go right now.
Come on, Sasha.
Oh, Dr.
That's actually my right.
Oh my God.
I'm in
I'm
the
so
game.
nervous. I don't even understand what's going on.
I thought I understood there. Oh, there's some
Okay.
poking and prodding.
Okay. I like the technique over here from Anna. I move.
Yeah.
Let's go. This is not an opening you should play, kids, but I'm all in. I'm all in.
Oh no, it's happening again. Well, Sasha, I need you, Sasha.
Game over. Rover. Anna. What I'm talking about.
What's that? It's okay.
That was the easiest game of chess I've ever played in my life. That was amazing. Okay.
All right.
But we're going to do a best of threes. You don't get to hit me with the sword.
Welcome back, everybody, to the premier event on the ChessKid calendar. It is the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship, and I am here with Grandmaster Ben Feingold helping me call the action. 3 rounds are in the books in the second pool play, Pool B, and we've got 3 players doing really well. 2 of them will face each other in this round. Ben, can you recall anything from Andrew Jing or Super Teet's play that has impressed you so far? I don't know if you recall any of their games yet.
Yeah, it seems like they're not making tactical mistakes. They're keeping the game the way they like it, and then they pounce at any mistake that they see. And they haven't been getting into positions where they have less than 10 seconds, which we saw a lot this morning. So I think they're just playing really solid and taking advantage of whatever their opponent gives them.
Yep, and their game is off and running. I do want to point out Megan has had to play nearly 100 moves of 50-move rule type defense the last couple of rounds. Not quite that many. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But back to the action, and we have ourselves a modern Tarrasch, which Bodhana actually played as white today in her game in the 4NCL. Knight F3 is not really a pawn sack because after C takes, Knight B3 usually recovers the pawn at some point. And I'm out. I don't know anything else about this position.
Yeah, I know bishop c4, queen could go to d7 or d6. I think d7 is more modern. Yeah, when I was playing the French before everybody was born, people used to take on d5 with the pawn. That's basically just been totally replaced by queen takes d5. So we see these kind of pawn structures a lot. It seems like both players are in their prep and they know what they're doing. And, usually white's slightly better and eventually black equalizes by completing development. Both sides aren't doing much. They're just developing their pieces and castling.
Yep, I always thought of these positions as easier for white to play, but no huge weaknesses, and black's last problem was getting that light squared bishop out, which black does seem to be solving. And Ben, you made a joke about, before they were born. I have actually been making videos for ChessKid since literally before most of these players have been born. So they are literally learning off of a video that was made before they were born. That shows both how young they are and how old I am. Bodhana being the youngest player this afternoon at 9 years old.
Yeah, there weren't any chess videos before I was born, so I didn't miss out on anything. I missed out on a lot of descriptive notation, long descriptive books that were written before 1970. I think that's a good thing to miss out on. So I didn't have this issue.
Okay, I think Roman Djindjiashvili's been making videos since the 1800s, but that's another story. Let's take a look at all 3 games up there on the screen. Aaron has an opening advantage against Megan, but in a very exciting game where the kings have castled on opposite sides. We've been looking at Andrew versus Super Teet's game, but over there on the left, we see Andrew Jing. He's another one of those people in the 2.5 point group, and we've been looking at his game. I completely messed up again. Patrick Liu is suffering a little bit at the hands of Bodhana. Bodhana has the more active rooks and control of the open file. I got mixed up in who my French players were there. But those are the 3 games. Ben, which one do you want to focus on now that we're out of the opening phase?
I want to look at Megan's game because that looks totally bonkers. And I think black center's pushing through and both kings are going to get attacked. But it seems like it's good for Mendes, who's obviously fighting for first place.
He is, and Megan kind of needs to score. She doesn't want to fall too far behind any of these players because she's trailing all 3 players. The good news is she only needs one of them to come back down to earth to catch them. I guess she needs 2 because she's got to finish in second place to advance to tomorrow's semifinals. So even though black has a big advantage, there is a chance she's able to rip open Black's king by eventually either a sacrifice on g7 or a pawn g6 type move. So we'll see if she's able to invent her way into some sort of counterplay.
Yeah,
At h6, also an idea.
If you're wondering at home why the engine likes Black so much, it's the classic 2 bishops versus 2 knights, and the position's pretty exciting. But it's a blitz game, so that means if White gets an attack, Black doesn't defend correctly, the game can turn in one move.
Yeah, she's looking to get pieces to the h-file. I could see her play g6, rook h7. I could see her try to reroute her queen to the h-file. There's actually a lot of attacking possibilities here for White. White's king is, I would say, relatively safe, except for queen c2 entrance. You got to be careful about the queen for Black coming down to c2. And this is a sacrifice if you take.
Trying to move the queen off of c2.
I love it. Do you have to play knight c3? I hope you don't if you're White, but queen d3 is maybe legal.
Queen d3, e4 is annoying because your queen has to defend c2 and e2. That might force an exchange.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what to do after that move. I guess you're right. You have to give away that strong rook on h4 that's meant to be an attacker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Megan's not looking good on the clock, which I like to point out. Minute behind on the clock.
Also. Yeah, you're right. Knight c3 is also an exchange sacrifice of sorts. I'm not even sure that that Black even wants that rook in case of knight c3. We'll find out in a second.
I'm looking at Bodhana's game. She's completely winning against Lou. So that's pretty exciting. She's got double rooks on the 7th rank, and she has the biggest time advantage we've seen. Oh, and White just blundered a rook. So Bodhana's going to get on the board this game.
All right, very nice. Bodhana with her first points of the match coming up. She could beat Magnus Carlsen in this position. I feel pretty confident. Mm-hmm. But will Megan be able to also notch her first? Yeah, that's true too. Megan does have 1 point, but they've come from 2 draws, so she's also searching for her first win. But right now, she'd probably accept a 3rd draw in this position because her attack is not working out. It's actually Black who's crashing through first.
We have a big time disparity in our feature game this round between Jing and Banerjee. Black only has 9 seconds left, and White has a minute.
Yeah, we'll keep it on both these games because I have a feeling that we don't know which one's going to finish first. Super Teat and Megan, both below 10 seconds. So definitely worth keeping an eye on both of these games.
Yeah, but Megan's down a rook, so she just resigned.
All right, well, we know where we're going. Big implications for first place in this Andrew Jing versus Super Teat game. Both of these players are on 2.5 out of 3 going into this round.
Wow, Black is winning, but Black has 5 seconds to 40.
F3, nice move to unravel the White king. And wow, you don't see too many players resign when their opponent has only 5 seconds left. That's
yeah, that was too big.
Yep, and rook takes rook also wins the queen and basically mates as well, or very nearly mates. So yeah, we can understand why Andrew resigned. And that means that Super Teat and Aaron pull away a little bit from Andrew. There was a 3-way tie going into the round. Now it is just Super Teat and Aaron on 3.5 out of 4. Andrew is still very much alive. Bodhana gets herself back in it. Megan would have loved to have scored, but wasn't able to. And Patrick is still alive, but may need to win the great majority of the remaining of his games to sneak into a top 2 qualification spot.
Yeah, that was a very exciting round. That was the first round of the day, including the morning rounds where Black won every game. Black went 3-0 that round.
Yeah, well said. Black did very well.
Watching was born, including maybe Mike. There was a book written by Hungarian Grandmaster Andrei Zadorian, Black is okay. And he wrote another book after it saying, like, Black is still okay. So he's right.
I can't add anything to that, except I'm guessing his name was spelled with a J, not a Y, because it's Adorian and he's adorable. So that was a Danny Wrench joke. I think I owe Danny Wrench $5 now. There's something in my head that the word adorable is something that Danny Wrench says all the time, except when he does my annual review. I wonder why. just kidding.
You're not adorable in his review? No.
I guess not. But yeah, the IM, we're going to take a look at Aaron's game when it comes up. Aaron is in first place, tied for first, and he's got white against Andrew Jing, who is trying to recover from his first loss of the event. And we'll see how this B3 Sicilian works out, a very rare opening against the Sicilian.
Wow, B3, B6. This is a Sicilian? Wow. Pretty unusual opening.
It's kids' chess. This is the classic, it takes one to know one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The kids say.
That's why I don't understand it, because I'm not a kid anymore. Let's see. In the other games, we have very positional looking kind of Sicilian in Bodhana's game with Megan. And we have an interesting either Sicilian or French defense in the other game, which is very, very positional. The knights are traded off. There's no knights in Banerjee's game with Lou. And Black's pieces are still all on the back rank. Engine prefers white because Black hasn't moved any of the black back rank pieces yet. And we see some trades in Bodhana's game. Bodhana just won her last round, got to an end game pretty quickly. And Engine said it's pretty equal. And we have craziness in the game we started looking at, Mendes and Jing. And Engine all of a sudden says Black is doing great and White's in trouble.
Yeah, that queen's going to have to find a safe home. But, you know, my eye is actually was drawn to a different game. Let's take a look at this game because I am kind of curious. Where does the queen go after e5? I mean, she does have safe squares. Let's not get too crazy. But the d6 pawn is now looking a little bit weak in the long run. Queen b8 would be one way to go after it. But you do have to save the knight. The knight's going to go, is it knight 4? Help me out, Ben. When the black knight goes to f4,
F4 attacks the bishop and the g pawn. I don't see what White does about that.
So it is a literal knife, our most serrated move of the day. Knight 4 winning a pawn. Do we take with the knight or do we take with the bishop? Got to watch out for bishop takes g6 mess too. If you play knight takes, let me see if I can show that on the board here. Okay, a move was played in the game.
Yeah, he took
you do have to watch out for bishop takes. And then if you take back, you can do no better than draw. And you might also have to worry about the rook up and over idea. So anyway, that is long since passed. There's no way that Black was going to allow that. So Black took with the bishop to prevent that exact line, and bishop c1.
Bishop takes g2. The knight took the bishop on d3, stopping all kinds of bishop takes g6 shenanigans. And basically, Black is just a pawn up. But the game's still early, and White has a nice majority on the queen side, like b4 and c5, and try to get that going. So the game is still up in the air, but so far looking very good for Andrew.
I thought about queen b7. I thought in this position, instead of a5, Black should sell out and play f5. Allow the pawn to be captured and get the pawn to f4 and f3 and go for the checkmate. But Black is playing a little more conservatively, and the computer says this probably is the way to play. I thought that the white king was so weak we would change gears, though.
No, I agree. I think, although trapping the queen on the queen side and then playing f5, f4, the queen can't come back. So that looks also really strong for Black. Oh, and now Black is eyeing the d6 pawn, as you pointed out earlier.
I was going to say that's the difference between FM and GM. I start with an idea, but you improve on it. You're exactly right. It's even better with the queen completely off sides and you're down nothing. But again, Black takes the conservative approach. Andrew just simply wants to win another pawn and not go for broke on the king side, which I can respect and looks like it's a pretty good plan too.
Yeah, Aaron's in the lead with 3.5, but he's not doing well this round. And blitz chess is like this. You can lose or win 2 or 3 games in a row, and that's what happens sometimes. So that's why even if you start out badly in blitz chess, you can catch up.
Let me ask you a question, Ben, while we still got some time on the clocks here. I believe that scientists in athletic sports have disproved the hot hand theory, the so-called anybody can turn into Steph Curry at any moment. In chess, do you believe maybe in the hot hand theory where a player can get going and that player just plays above their level for 10 games or 15 games?
Yeah, sometimes you just feel it. You're just, somebody who's 2,500, for example, doesn't play 2,500, 100 games in a row. Some tournaments are good, some tournaments are bad, and sometimes you just have several good tournaments in a row. And I believe in a lot of round robin tournaments where the players are similar strengths, if somebody's doing really well and somebody else isn't, the ratings are the same, the person who's doing well is going to try really hard to win against the person who's not having a good tournament, because you lose your confidence when everybody has the same rating and you have like 1 out of 5, and you just like, I want this tournament to be over. If somebody has 4 out of 5, they're like, man, I'm killing it this tournament, and the confidence can make you play better or worse depending on what side of it you're on. So I believe in chess. When people are having good tournaments against people having bad tournaments, in slow chess, this is important. In blitz chess, it's not as important because you play so many games, you can get on a streak, you start playing well. And I think that could happen in this tournament also.
Andrew's doing a great job of preventing counterplay here. Aaron desperate to create some counterplay. And if we look at all of the games here, this one has the most decisive advantage. I do believe Aaron is going to suffer his first loss. He is down on the clock. He's not developing any counterplay on the board. Megan and Bodhana are about equal, but we'll keep it here because we want to see if, in fact, our pre-tournament favorite and our current leader, or at least equal leader, goes down here. With 4 rooks on the board, the chances are better than with just 2. Of course, White also might be mating himself if he's not careful. But great job here by Andrew, I would say, not allowing infiltration by the white rooks and not allowing counterplay so far.
No, Black's technique is excellent so far. White's just losing. And unfortunately for Aaron, Black has a lot more time on the clock. So Black isn't going to mess this up.
Yeah, it looks like a rook trade makes things easy. And in fact, that's exactly what Black does. Rook d2. Black will be very happy to give away a rook. A pawn to get the rooks off the board.
Yeah, now it's just over. White can resign.
This one's over. So if we can, let's go to the Megan game, the all-ladies matchup. Megan versus Bodhana. I will report that Patrick Liu is going to beat Super T Banerjee. So our 2 leaders are both going to lose in this game, in this round. And the only interesting game as far as the actual chess on the board would be this one, same color bishops, but we've reached an impasse. And I believe for the 3rd time already in 5 rounds, Megan is going to be moving pieces around the board in a period of stasis, and she gets her 3rd draw of the event.
Wow. Yeah, that was an equal position. That was fair. And Black almost went 3-0 this round, but Black only got 2.5. Still good for the Black pieces.
But I will say a lot happened that round because both of the players that were undefeated on 3.5 out of 4 went down. Every single player has suffered a loss so far. That round brought us back to where we were after our break. There are once again 3 players on the lead, except they've all suffered some losses now. 3.5 out of 5, Super Teat, Andrew, and Aaron. And Bodhana and Megan and Patrick, they've all gotten a little bit closer. It may not seem that way, but they've all inched their way closer. But one of them has to get hot to really challenge the 3. And the 3 can't just coast because only 2 players qualify to tomorrow. So a very important round coming up in round 6 to see if we can get any separation.
Yeah, that was a very exciting round. Typically, you don't see both leaders lose, but again, it can get streaky. And if one of the bottom players starts getting on a winning streak, they can fight for the top 2 places also.
Question for you, Ben. Bodhana has her rematch against Aaron. She never quite got in the game in round 1, but it's rematch time. She's a little more in the flow because she did have to switch from classical to blitz. Do you think she'll put up a better fight and maybe even score a win or a draw against Aaron in this next round?
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Obviously, Aaron upset about losing his last game. So again, it's streaky, and no matter what the ratings are, how many points they have, no result surprises me in blitz chess. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Bodhana wins the game.
Well, we see we've got all the games there ready. Round 6 is going to start any moment. And with round 6, we will see which of the 3 players in the top section are able to create some separation, and which of the 3 in the chasing pack, the peloton, if you will be able to get a little bit closer and make things interesting as we have ourselves either a Moscow or a Rosalimo. I never remember which one's which, but there we are in this opening.
This one's the Moscow.
Thank you. I never remember.
Yeah, I don't either, but I just know this is the Moscow.
Okay, it's turned into a Maroxy
accelerated dragon.
Indeed, it does. Black is going to try to get in either b5 or in some rare cases, even if I can draw some arrows on the screen, my arrows are not working, b5 or d5. Actually, the players are going so fast, that's why my arrows aren't working. But if Black can accomplish neither, it's a really not fun position to play for Black.
No, White has more space. White's slightly better to clearly better. It's Black usually just waits for White to do something that's too aggressive and just sort of chills. And sometimes people like those positions. Unfortunately, when I have these positions, I'm usually Black and I'm playing accelerated dragon and I'm just hoping my opponent does something really bad so I can pounce. Otherwise, White is just better.
Yeah, there was a Kasparov versus computer match in 2003. I think it was the last time chess was on ESPN. And it was this kind of formation. It was technically a hedgehog, and Black was just moving around, and White was moving around. And after 2 hours, the commentators, Maurice and I think Greg Schotty just gave up. They're like, I don't know anymore what I can say. So there's a lot of very, very subtle maneuvering, is my point. But luckily, we don't have classical. We have 3+1. Things will happen quickly, and already we see a very quick trade by White.
Yeah, pawn structure changed. Black now has an isolated A pawn, more control of Black had more control of the D5 square, but gave it up to control the D4 square. Black might want to try to maneuver his knight to D4, something like knight E5 to C6, or knight F8 to E6, also good. But White's still better because White has more space and Black has that isolated pawn.
Yep. But instead of just leaning on Black, she decides to advance. Let's take a look at the other games while we stay on this one. We'll take a look at all 3 at the same time, because Megan has opened up a really large advantage against Supratit, totally winning, in fact, the computer says, as she just forks Black's rooks right as we come to her game. And she will take the lead in this game, and also a nice healthy advantage on the clock. She's only used 35 seconds to get this winning position.
Yeah, this is an excellent position for White. Shouldn't have any trouble converting. Black doesn't have any counterplay. White's up a lot of material, and White has better pawn structure, and more time on the clock, just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, Black is going to go after the hook pawn, though, with G5, G4. The nice thing, if you want to call it that, Ben, about being totally lost in chess is that you can just go nuts. In fact, you should. Just throw your pieces at your opponent. It's very liberating when you don't have anything. You can just, throw caution to the wind. And that's what Black is going to do by trying to play G5, G4.
That's right.
Meanwhile, in the All-American match, we have stasis, exactly. Yeah. But this is the kind of result that Megan would need to beat one of the leaders here, would put her in striking position. I know she only has 1.5, but remember, there are 5 rounds remaining. We thought 6.5 was kind of the magical score. If you get to 6.5 and you don't qualify for at least a playoff in the top 2, that's just really bad luck. I think at this point, 6.5 will still do the trick. But she's got to win the rest of her games to get to that number.
Anything is possible in blitz chess, and you start getting your confidence up when you win a couple of games. But yeah, and also winning a game like this where you're basically just winning from the start. You're up material, you have more time on the clock. It's like a fun game to win. You don't have to sweat too much.
Yeah, I want to keep it here with all 3 games because I think that Megan's still going to be able to convert without too much trouble, as long as it's not Bug House where Black drops a pawn on G2. Other than that, drastic and very against the rules change. I think she's still doing fine. But the other 2 games, I'm waiting for someone to do something before we jump in. And we're going to just keep looking. It's such an important round that kind of makes sense to look at all three games at the same time.
Well,
Whoa,
Black just
okay.
did something, and then the engine said no.
Yes, the engine is a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down, we get excited. But I will say, in Bodhana's game over there on the far right side of the screen, she's just going to lean on that c5 pawn forever. And if she can toggle her pieces, I don't really like the decision to trade queens, but if she can toggle her pieces at all and create any other weakness or any other problem, it'll be very hard for Black to defend two different problems at the same time.
Yeah, White has clearly the better position, and Black is clearly ahead on time. So the Mike Klein engine says it's equal.
Yes, Stock Mike
Megan
says
is
that.
wrapping it up in her game. She's increasing her advantage every move.
Okay, we see a draw in that All-American game. Not the worst result in the world at all for Andrew Jing. Patrick scores a draw. He's got one win and I think two draws. Megan still firmly in control. But this is the match that's quite interesting because if Bodhana wins, she's right back in it. And Erin suddenly falls a little bit out of that first place spot.
Yeah, White has a better position. Black has more time, and it's an end game, and so it's easy to make a blunder if you just miss something. Looks like Black just won the A pawn. Engine doesn't care very much. Wait, I thought you could play G5, but you're in check. Yeah, Black played G5. Yeah, White was threatening G5 there.
Well, what Bodhana is going to do is she's going to bring her knight to e4 and threaten knight takes g5 because the black knight is so far away. So the knight makes a run, and now she's down two pawns, and her g4 pawn is loose. She wanted to play knight g8, but if she ever plays knight g8, now knight takes g4 would guard the h6 pawn.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate that she had such a big time disadvantage because her position was excellent. Now king g7 just wins the knight.
Yep, and Black saves his own knight. She has to give her knight. And that's too bad because she really had the better side of a drawn position, but not too bad for Erin. Erin, the number one player, has slipped his way into a winning position, it appears.
Yeah, and,
By the way,
Megan is still completely winning in the other game.
Okay, we'll go to that game. By the way, interestingly, Bodhana plays to checkmate even in over-the-board games. It's just something that she does.
Yeah, that's fine.
Here's
Yeah, I don't mind
Megan's
that.
game. Okay, don't see any stalemates on tap, so should be a clean
I'm looking
victory.
for stalemate tricks. I don't see any.
Yeah, I think White's trying to trade rooks just to avoid it. Oh no, it's still not so easy for White. Okay, there we go.
Avoiding all stalemates. Yeah.
All right, and Megan wins. That is her first actual win. She did have 3 draws in the tournament. So, as I said, she might need to win all the rest of her games. She got started with a win there. And let's take a look at our standings as we go to our second break. Let's put them up there on the screen. And Ben, what do you see?
We got highest rated player in the only IM, Aaron Mendes from Canada in first place. American Andrew Jing is in second place with 4. Super T Banerjee from the UK has 3.5. And the other players are chasing. Again, as you pointed out, if Megan can put a run together, she can fight for the top 2 places. But yeah, everybody's won a game, everybody's lost a game. Competition's fierce. And Aaron's probably the happiest right now. Not only is he in first, but he lost the previous round and he righted the ship.
Absolutely. He is the one most in control for one of those top 2 spots. When we come back, we're going to see the conclusion of the Pool B of the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship. Which 2 of these players will move on and play in tomorrow's semifinals? Come back after the break and find out with us.
Wear your love of chess on your sleeve with all new apparel and accessories from the Chess.com merch store. Maybe you simply want a clock that will never run out, or a mouse pad that will finally unlock your speed chess potential. Whether you play chess to get energized with your morning coffee, or play into the wee hours of the night and witness the occasional alien abduction, we've got something for every king, queen, and knight in shining armor. Even gift cards for your loved ones who've caught the chess bug. So check out the Chess.com shop for apparel, accessories, and more. Grab your favorites before they're gone.
What is Hikaru's all-time blitz rating on Chess.com?
At some point, people were getting up to like 3,400, like Ali Reza. I'm gonna go like 3,409, because I think back in the day, everyone was like a bit higher rated, and Ali Reza and Hikaru were around the 3,400 range. I'm gonna go 3,409 just to shot in the dark.
It's 3,405, but really close. When was the first time Fabiano beat you in a classical game?
Okay, let's see. So there's 2011 Vaikonze. I did not lose that game. First time I lost to Fabiano classical game. Think so. It's not 9. Is it Reggio Emilia? That's an interesting question. This is probably wrong, but I'm gonna go with the 2014 Singfield Cup.
I actually think you're exactly correct on that one. Round 5.
Okay.
Which basketball team does Hikaru support?
I have no idea. Mavericks? Probably not. I don't know.
It's Chicago Bulls. How many candidates tournaments has Fabiano played?
Okay, so for Fabiano, it should be pretty easy. It should be 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So it should be 5 candidates tournaments.
Hikaru published a book in 2009. What was the title?
It was something about bullet. It was like how to win bullet. I wouldn't remember the exact title. How to win at bullet chess.
Actually, pretty close. It's Bullet Chess 1 Minute to Mate. Has Fabiano ever represented a country besides the US? And if so, which one?
Yeah, so Fabiano represented Italy from about, like, I'm gonna guess, like somewhere around like 2001-ish to till I think 2014, could be wrong, but about 12 or 13 years he represented the country of Italy.
What was Hikaru's peak FIDE rating?
Okay, was it over 2820? I'm like, for some reason the number that's jumping out is 2819. It could also be somewhere in the low 2820s. For some reason 2819 is like speaking to me. I'll go with my gut, say 2819.
2816, close. What was Fabiano's peak FIDE rating?
Okay, so Fabiano's peak FIDE rating, okay, so I believe that it was higher than Kasparov, if I'm not mistaken. Kasparov was 2851, so I think it was 2850. It's either 2853 or 2849. I think is he higher than Gary or not? For some reason in my mind, 53 doesn't sound right. 49 does. 2849, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's the other way around.
We have 2844.
Oh, it's 44, okay. Oh, it was that much lower than Gary, okay. Okay.
Join the community club on Chess.com and participate in amazing community events every week. On Mondays, challenge yourself with incredible openings in Opening Roulette. Don't miss Untitled Tuesday every week right after Title Tuesday. On Wednesday, join Arena Kings and compete against a lineup of legendary creators. On Fridays, try the all-new Community Freestyle Fridays and throw opening theory out the window. And finally, round out the week by showing off your speed in the Community Bullet Brawl. Win prizes, battle legends, and challenge yourself. Play in the community tournaments every week on Chess.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Funmaster Mike here with Grandmaster Ben Feingold. We are bringing to you the conclusion of the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship, the preliminary part, which is the pool play. Tomorrow will be the semifinals and the finals. 6 rounds are in the book. 4 rounds remain. The top 2 qualify in our double round robin. That's a mouthful. Let's just take a look at the standings. Aaron and Andrew so far are in ticket punching space, but they're going to try to hold off Super Teat and Megan. Outside chance of Patrick and Bodhana still qualifying. They will pretty much need to win all 4 of their games. But no surprise for Aaron. He is the number 1 player, the only IM. Ben, are you surprised at all by Andrew or Super Teat? And who do you think's got the best chance?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I've heard a lot about Andrew Jing before on the broadcast, and Super Teat seems to play very excellent chess. I think just because Andrew has half a point lead for second, I think he's the favorite to come in second. But there's 4 rounds left, so I'll give you a different answer in a couple rounds.
And just to show you how many strong kids there are around the world, there's a 10-year-old USA player who just made 2,300. You might be wondering why he's not invited, because he gained like 200 points in the last month after all of our invitations went out. I sent the mom an email. She sent back a very nice email that her son actually got started on ChessKid. He will almost certainly qualify next year. But that's just the nature of the business. Kids really are that good, that fast, and the games are beginning. So we'll start with our 3-board view here. Andrew opens with e4. Oh, Super Teat, a man after my own heart, plays the Sicilian Alapin and a Catalan for Patrick Liu against Megan.
Yeah, we got 3 mainline openings. Black played a little unusual variation. Bodhana did in the French defense, moving her queen out, moving it back. But I guess that's her prep. We saw earlier in similar French, Black played knight c6. Now Bodhana plays knight d7. You can play either c5 or e5, or put the knight on f6, which the knight on f6. White is better. Black is solid, and Andrew Jing really wants to win this game because he's fighting for first and second place.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're just off a 5-minute break, Ben, where Andrew could have theoretically gone back and taken a look at her round 1 game. Against Erin Mendes, where she played knight c6, she blocked her c-pawn. Do you think that these players are spending that 5-minute break by researching their opponent's openings?
I mean, that's not how I would spend my 5-minute break. You got to relax. You can't be on a 10 all the time. You have to relax between rounds and get your brain rested. Go to the bathroom, have some water. Just relax. I think if you're studying a lot between games, that could actually hurt you.
It could. I took a little break. Also had to check my fantasy baseball, just, throwing the truth out there. But I took a little break from chess too. I did not go play a blitz game myself or anything crazy like that.
Well, the C3 Sicilian game looks like a Grunfeld now. The Alapins.
You're right. And for those of you who like hanging pawn structures with the C and the D pawns, it happens a lot in the Alapin. And the big question in all hanging pawn positions, are the pawns a strength or a weakness? And Ben, I do feel always a little bit cringe when I say this term, because if I was a little bit new to chess, hanging pawns to me sounds like they're about to be captured. But it's this weird term. It's when 2 pawns don't have any pawns on the adjacent flanks, but those 2 pawns are together. For some weird reason, the chess gods decreed that we should call these hanging pawns, but we really need a better name for 2 pawns like this.
Yeah, they should be called not yet hanging pawns, but close.
Right. One day isolated pawns, because that's what happens when one of them gets captured.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Looks like Black's going to try to capture another pawn, taking on a4.
Yeah, but White does have this center control because I played the Alapin, and because I think it's also an interesting game, and also because it matters a lot for the standings. I think we're going to jump in to that Super Teat versus Aaron game and do a little bit of a deeper dive. Who is better, the person with the bishops and the strong passer, or the person with more pawns? That is the dynamic discussion of this game.
Yeah, and the engine's not helping. It just says equal. Come on, engine, make up your mind. I think in blitz chess, I'd rather have white. I like bishops. I like passed D pawns. And I think it's going to take black a while to get the queenside pawns going. Of course, black's a pawn up. I like being a pawn up also. So since I play the Alapin Sicilian mainly with white, but I do have black also, since I'm white more often, I'll choose that I like white in this position.
And the good news for black, the next square that pawn has to advance to is a dark square. Black, of course, has a dark square bishop, not to state the obvious, but if that pawn can't move, black will eventually play a5, b5, b4, and once those pawns become mobile, then black will probably be better, but that's a couple of moves away. White has to figure out how to use this space advantage and open up the bishops quickly before that does happen.
Both players playing very tentative, rook e2, b6, not trying to get too much. And as I like to point out, black has a 1 minute time advantage on the clock, which could come in handy later.
Absolutely. Patrick has opened up a big advantage against Megan, but he's lower on time. We'll stay here for the moment because I still think that it's going to be pretty, well, actually, we'll take a look at all the games because I'm genuinely curious what exactly happened in that game. Knife 5, Ben, in Patrick Liu's game.
Wow. That looks like it's hanging. The rook on d5 is hanging. Why are all of white's pieces hanging? I guess because white's a piece up.
Yeah, in fact, big action in Super Teat's game as well. The rook made it to d7, and right now, f7 is hanging, and the d pawn is not going to be captured because there's going to be a checkmate. Queen takes f7, queen takes g7. What does black do here? The queen is hanging, and checkmate is threatened after queen takes f7. Do you have to push the queen or
black
what?
is just lost? I guess black missed rook e7. See, I told you I liked white.
White always wins in the Alapin, friends. You should get to know that right now. I will say this, when you play a Sicilian player, every time you play the Alapin, they're never like, oh boy. They're always like, oh, really? We're doing this? We're doing this now? So I'm just saying, that's how they react. Okay.
And f5 is pretty, what's the word? Pretty inventive. That's an excellent move. Because if you take the queen, then I take both rooks.
Yeah,
so
that is
even
true.
though
I didn't even
white's completely winning. That was a very creative move.
Okay, so he actually avoids taking the queen and quite correctly avoids it. Now he's going to take the queen. Right. What an idea, though.
First. You might take the knight first.
Whoa, he takes nothing and plays bishop b2 to try to get a checkmate. What an unbelievable sequence of 3 moves. The queen has been hanging for 3 moves, and Super T, with 8 seconds left, plays in such a style. I would have just taken the queen and played simply with 8 seconds, but let's see if it works out for him.
Yeah, bishop b2 has got to be the best move. There's no defense to mate. And Bodhana won again. Go Bodhana.
Awesome job by Bodhana. Desperation. And look at this. You can't imagine a more dominating position for white.
Bishop
and actually,
G7,
the mate is on the board. Totally professional by Super Teat there. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Let's go there now.
That game's about equal, it says, but I'll take black all day because black has the passed pawns. Now it says black's doing great. It's hard to stop passed A pawns in blitz game.
This is the one time where a rook and a pawn can be better than 2 minors. In the endgame, when that pawn is motoring down the board, rook takes bishop is going to be the tactic after the king moves.
And you can't even take the pawn because of rook c2. It's a good round for the ladies. They went 2-0. That's the first time that happened.
Honestly, it's a good round for really all of the chasers. Now, Super Teat technically wasn't chasing Aaron anymore. Wow. That's the round, Ben. That's the round that did more to clarify, or actually, I should say, muddle the situation more than any other, because we've had this top group, Ben. We've had this lower group, and 2 from the lower group beat 2 from the top group. So that matters a lot. Super Teat is running away with a little bit now, but now it's totally unclear who is going to end up in second place with 3 rounds remaining. There we see Megan looking very intently at the scores. Let's see what's going on in the action. Super Teat is tied with Aaron Mendes. Wait a minute, but Super Teat just beat Aaron, I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that. But Super T and Aaron are tied. Andrew with 4, but Megan and Bodhana are jumping back into things. Patrick's still alive as well. You're right. Great round for the ladies as we move on to round number 8.
Yeah, that was a great round to make, as you said, everything muddled up. Before it looked like there was some separation. Now everybody's sort of scrunched together, and the last 3 rounds are going to decide this event.
Well, Bodhana has found her form here. She's found a second wind of energy. Whatever her parents are giving her, even if it's a Coca-Cola, that's what my dad used to give me. That's before we knew about healthy eating. Whatever she's doing to retain her energy has been fantastic. And here we go in round number 8, Bodhana against Super T in an all-England matchup, an all-American matchup right in the middle with Megan against Andrew, and then an all-North American matchup on the left with Aaron versus Patrick.
So we have a Carol Khan. We have another one of these. I don't know if it's a Sicilian or a French. And then we have a London system. I guess the 2 British players playing the London system, that actually makes sense.
I guess they get paid to do that. I'm not sure if they have a sponsorship contract or not. Ben, you actually made a, can I call it a malapropism? Before we went to break, you called Super Teat a UK player, and you were more right than you knew because he used to represent Scotland, which is a different FIDE federation, and now he represents England. So maybe he'll be like the famous tennis player Andy Murray, you know, when he wins, he's British, when he loses, he's Scottish. No, we love him. He's just a great chess kid, and he is a talent no matter who he plays for. As we jump here to Bodhana's game, she's got a very nice outpost on e5. We're going to see if she can keep up her winning ways against Super Teat. I'm guessing these two have played each other a ton.
Yeah, I would guess the same thing. Yeah, White has domination over the e5 square. Black's bishop on c8 isn't very good. So Bodhana, I think, has the advantage at the beginning. Other games are about equal. Very interesting positions, though. So I think I never understand these Carol Khans in the Mendes game with Lou. Like, it seems like Black's ruining their pawn structure. Then all of a sudden, I like Black's position. So I have to learn this line for Black because I've seen this a lot, and it seems like Black always gets a lot of counterplay.
Well, before we switch over to that one, some major things have happened in this one. The bishop leaves the board on e5. Super Teat opens up a big advantage. I should mention, I'm almost positive now that Super Teat played for NCL because he looks like he's playing from a hotel room. That does not look like a kid's room. So both of these players are in their hotel room after their league matches today. So they're both maybe running on fumes, both very intent on their game.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of 9 and 10-year-old professional chess players when I was a kid, but now they're playing chess more than one event a day, playing from their hotel room, and then play more chess tomorrow.
You're right.
Yeah, this looks bad for Bodhana losing control of e5. Black has the 2 bishops. Black has the nice knight on e4. White's going to have to watch out for queen g2 mate. Right now, Black's threatening knight takes c3, wins the game. Knight takes f2 seems like it wins also.
It looks like this knight being in danger should just go back to f3. She's maybe trying to be clever here with f3. I would have just played knight f3. So long think here, unfortunately. The simple move was better. Not that it was an enviable position, but he could just take the knight and take the pawn on e4 and just win a pawn.
Yeah, I think the problem with knight f3 is Black plays e5, and f2 is under pressure from the bishop and the knight.
Okay. That is a good point. So unenviable choices there. She has to make a little bit of a counterplay here, which is always nice to do. Finally flip the script a little bit, make Super Teat worry about something. Should Super Teat go on to win this game, and we're a long way from that, that would do so much to get him to be one of the favorites to finish in the top 2, because there will only be 2 games left.
Lose right now. You can go to the Mendes game.
Wow,
He's going to resign soon.
That's
Might
moved. That's
resign
moved to Mendes.
Yeah, because rook takes e1, rook e8 wins the queen.
Yeah, it's just that simple, isn't it?
The truth hurts.
The truth does hurt, and the truth is this king didn't find shelter. Aaron is struggling a little bit. He's stumbling after starting 3.5 out of 4. He's only got 1 point, I think, out of his last 4 games, assuming he's not able to make some sort of miracle comeback in this game. And Patrick Liu playing the role of spoiler here a little bit. He is sitting there with 2 points. But if he wins all 3, he'll be at 50%. So his chances are long, but he's still showing himself to be a fighter here by probably winning this game.
Yeah, there's no probably about it. Yeah, and the game ended.
Resignation indeed. Bodhana still losing against Super Teat. So I was going to move. Actually, let's stay with the 2 board setup here because we see very big eval bar advantages for opposite colors on the screen.
Yeah, the people who are in first, second, and third seem to be losing to 4th, 5th, and 6th in almost every round.
Yeah, Megan just became a big fan of Patrick, her countryman, because by Patrick winning, that really brings Aaron back down to earth. And by my count here, if Megan is able to win this game, and she is up big, she should be tied with Aaron. And she's also knocking out one of the people she's chasing if she's able to win. So out of sort of nowhere, Megan will be tied for a advancement spot if she's able to finish this off, but her advantage is dwindling.
Yeah, both sides are getting down to very little time. Bodhana is still losing. But Bodhana has more time on the clock. So that's a factor also. But another exciting round with probably 3 decisive games.
Yeah, you're right. She's got about 20 seconds left. So does Super Teat, but her position has fallen off a cliff, and her king is having to walk right into the line of fire. And we have ourselves, oh no, it's going to be a windmill. It's an official windmill, Ben. We don't see it every day, but we're seeing it here.
Yeah, I could trade everything and be up a bishop. Yeah. Man, if I never resigned in my life, I might resign here.
Yeah, in fact, this is so over. I want to go to the other game remaining. In fact, it does end right there. Super Teat gets the best of Bodhana.
She did resign. You said she doesn't resign.
That is true. She literally, even in the Olympiad, she did not resign. So I'm a little bit curious why she's in that position. But here we have our final game. Once again, if Megan can convert this, it will mean so much to her chances. And I also want to point out, Megan has been playing in ChessKid events for several years. She always outperforms her rating. She's had so many upsets in knockout events. So she really shines when we invite her to these ChessKid events. She's analyzing whether or not to take, but she keeps the rooks on the board. Okay, she does trade, and her king is going to get to really important light squares. Correctly, she evaluates this as a winning bishop endgame.
All the way up. Yeah. King b6 was unnecessary, but it doesn't matter.
Yep, she always gets a chance to do a redo. Now, what Black is hoping for is to find some sort of blockade, but even if Black's king finds a light square, the e-pawn is always hanging. Now it's a matter of technique, as they say.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, and Megan has a lot more time on the clock, too.
Great job by Megan getting herself back into this. Tough couple of rounds for Andrew, who was once upon a time tied for first, and I think he's going to move into 4th place after this loss.
3 decisive games again at the end of near the end of the tournament.
Yep, she keeps her stoic game face on, and I really want to look at the standings here to make sure that I have my math right. Megan's about to be given credit for her win. Our standings can't even catch up.
Standings change a lot every round.
Yeah, really. I mean, and honestly, we were kind of pumping up the lower 3 players. I don't know if in my heart of hearts I thought one of them could jump up into the top, but Megan has done exactly that. Super Teat still in control. But Aaron and Megan are tied for an advancement spot. We may have to go to tiebreakers in this one. We did not have to in the morning play, but Andrew by no means out of it. Patrick would need to win both of his last 2 and have a whole lot of results go his way for an even score to have any chance.
Yeah, it seems like it's a 4-person race for 2 spots. And the ladies play this round, so Bodhana can play the spoiler against the American Megan.
I believe these two have played before in an international online match as part of the London Chess Fest, which I've been to several times.
Oh.
We actually had Bodhana playing in Trafalgar Square in person on the ChessKid website versus Megan, who plays from back home. So these two have played online before in a very, very public setting. I mean, it doesn't get more public than Trafalgar Square. Something historical happened there, not the least of which was chess. Okay, round 9. Round 9 could make or break the chances of several players. Right now, as you said, 5 players are in it. 4 players have reasonable chances. 1 is a complete dark horse. But after this round, we may be down to only about 3 players have any sort of chance.
That's right. And this is the penultimate round, so we're very close to the end. It's funny. Megan's game looks like it's an Alpine Sicilian again, but it's not.
That's true. These isolated queen pawn structures can be direct transpositions. There's actually a way to play against the Alekhines defense that directly transposes to a c3 Sicilian. I won't go into that, of course, but there's so many different ways that openings transpose, especially IQP positions.
We have an advanced French on the right, which I don't think we've seen. We've seen a lot of Frenches, but most people are playing the Tarish variation.
Mm-hmm.
And we have looks like some kind of Grunfeld in Jing's game with Mendes, but Andrew seems like he's already lost. Like he's down a pawn and Black has active play.
Well, yeah, it's tough for Andrew to recover, but he needs to. I know he's spun himself out of one of the qualification spots. Aaron, of course, trying to recover, even though he's maybe not playing up to the best standards. He's so good that even after a couple of losses in recent rounds, he still finds himself tied for second. Just a reminder for those of you who are not with us in the morning, if there's a 2 or a 3-way tie for second place, we do play more chess. The only time we don't play chess is if first and second are tied, because they both advance to tomorrow anyway. We just do some funny tie breaks to decide who technically finished first. But that could very well come into play, and I'll read you all the rules if we end up in a tie-break situation.
Wow, the game already ended, Mike. Aaron Mendes won.
Wow, that was big and that was quick, and that was our quickest game of the entire day, morning or afternoon session.
Mm-hmm.
Just totally domination from Andrew, and that's looking really, really good for his chances. Now Megan has to keep pace. So I want to jump into the Megan game because we now know that she has to win to at least stay equal. And by the way, if Super T were to lose, we would be back into a 3-way tie for first. Only we sub out Andrew for Megan because of her hot form, if she's able to win this game, of course.
Yeah, we have another hanging pawn situation. This really looks like a Grunfeld.
Yeah, it kind of does. But as you mentioned before, could even be a C3 Sicilian. Could be a lot of things. So I find this, when I was recording my video on hanging pawns, which is what we have here with the C and the D pawns, but no pawns on the B or the E files. Basically what Black is trying to do is to provoke one of them to move, because when one of them moves, they tend to both get blockaded. Whereas White is trying to keep the flexibility, keep them side by side, and only move them forward when there's either going to be a tactic or when they can guarantee the advancement of the other pawn to keep pace with the initial pawn. So that's kind of my 7-second explanation of how to play against hanging pawns should you ever find yourself as Black in a situation like this.
And something happened. C5, now we go from the hanging pawns to the isolated pawn, as you earlier said. White has a passed pawn. It's isolated. The engine doesn't care much, as Black is slightly better because the C pawn isn't really dangerous. White's not going to promote that anytime soon. Black has a nice blockade. So the engine says it's about equal. Time is about equal. All 3 results are still in play here.
Let's show this idea though. Knight a5 does not hang a knight. The idea is if knight takes, you basically just self-made it because rook check, bishop f8, bishop h6, and then rook takes bishop is going to happen. Now, of course, Bodhana is too smart for that. I don't think we're going to see that. So let's go back, and she's deciding what to do instead of playing knight takes knight.
And Super Teed is completely winning his game against the American.
Okay, in that case, I guess we'll stay here because this has the most volatility. The rook is going to make it to the 7th rank.
Right.
And really bother black. The engine says equal, but at least white has some ideas. Very surprising. I mean, white must be the player that you would choose here. I guess f4 is the problem. And then if your bishop moves, you lose the c pawn.
Yeah, f4 is annoying. Yeah, both players have about the same amount of time. White tried to prevent f4. Black protected the a pawn. It's still about equal. And
what do you think about rook b7, rook b6?
Yeah, very important game for Megan. She's really fighting for the top 2 spots. Rook b6 is annoying. I guess I can play bishop f8. Okay, bishop f8 was played. Then retreat my rook and keep an eye on the c pawn.
Let's see. She could technically trade rooks and play bishop d6. That's very scary, though, after b7, bishop a7. So she'd be well advised to keep the rooks on the board, and she does. Nice job, Bodhana.
I think white has to play c6 if she wants to win. Yeah, c6. Well, the engine says the game's really well played. Been about equal for a long time. Both sides
only got 20 seconds. Yeah, a draw is not catastrophic, but it's really not ideal. Megan would love to not be a half point back from an IM going into the last round.
Okay, and Banerjee just won the game against Liu. Looking good for Super. Like he's going to make it.
Yep, that does not technically punch the ticket because if Megan wins this and both Aaron and Megan win the last round, there'd be a 3-way tie for 6.5. But Super Teed is inches away from qualification.
Somehow White snagged a pawn, H pawn, and is pinning the bishop on f8. So now White's winning, but Megan has less time.
Yeah, there might have been a tactic in there where White put pressure on the f8 bishop, but let's continue, of course, with our position. She's only got 10 seconds. And man, she's played so much chess today. So many endgames. This is the 4th long endgame I can think of hers. She's going to recover the pawn, I think.
Now it's equal again.
Oh no, she forgot bishop d4. Does that work? Rook b2?
Yeah, and then you... Yeah, very good.
And the king has
technique.
Oh boy, now she's groveling for the draw. She needs the draw to have any chance, really. Ooh, Bodhana cuts the king off.
Black's winning again. Yeah, Black has a ton of time on the clock, so Bodhana's going to win this game.
And by the way, the math has been done. Super Teed is through, even if Black falls into a checkmate, by the way. Amazing. So Super Teed is through, our second European. Megan is fighting for her life here. If she does not win this game, she'll be a full point behind Aaron going into the last round.
Yeah, Megan could have played rook g1 earlier and drew. That's why the thermometer was going up and down so much. Now Black just wins simply.
Yeah, it looks very trivial. We're going to see the building of the bridge. I think rook e2 might have been the fastest way to win, but this probably gets the job done too.
Now rook g5 just wins immediate. Yeah, check is good. Yeah, rook g5 is the easiest way to win.
Yep. She does play this move. Okay, Megan being annoying. There are complete lessons about this on ChessKid, by the way. She hasn't figured it out yet. Megan is being annoying by keeping her king on d1 and d2 and not allowing the black king to get to e2 or e1. But yeah, rook g5 is the move that she needs to learn right here. Oh, she saves the draw.
Repetition draw.
Wow. Wow. Great news for Megan. Keeps her chances alive a little bit.
Right.
Bodhana surely knows how to win this, but she just had such a long day of chess. Must be hard. But a draw was kind of a fair result if you think about the game as a complete whole.
Right.
I think Megan's trying hard to fight off a smile there. She knows what she's done. But look what we have going in the last round. Super T has definitely punched his ticket now. There is no way he cannot finish as one of the top two. Aaron, if he wins, he controls his own destiny now. Does Aaron play Megan in the last round by some chance?
Yes.
Looks like it does. So amazingly, Megan still controls her own destiny.
Wow. Yeah, that's
so Ben, we can set the stage very simply. Aaron wins or draws, he goes through. Megan wins, she goes through. There will be no tiebreak. There'll be no overtime pay for you, Ben. I'm sorry about that, but we do have one game and one game only that we're going to be looking at in this last round. Megan versus the IM from Canada, Aaron Mendes.
All North American matchup. Megan didn't start out the tournament very well. Then she started drawing some games. Then she started winning some games. And as you said, she controls her own destiny. If she wins the game, she gets second place. And if she doesn't win, then Aaron goes through. And the round has started.
We are off and running. Both of these players, by the way, played in the 2023 ChessKid Youth Speed Chess Championship, which Aaron won. Megan only made it to the second round, so they never actually faced each other. But here we go. They're facing each other now with a spot in Sunday's semifinals on the line. Aaron needs only a draw as white to go through.
Very unusual kind of Sicilian where whites played B3 and G3. Now it doesn't look like a Sicilian anymore. And I think Aaron's been doing that most of the tournament, playing kind of fianchetto systems. Seems like he likes that.
Ben, I'm just going to ask you to hazard a guess as we get through the opening phase here. Do you think both players are aware of their tournament situation?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I'd definitely be aware if I was playing. Pretty sure they are. Check the standings before the last round.
Yeah, you definitely should. She's probably got an inkling that she's getting close, but it's very helpful as black and as white to know exactly, okay, it's win or go home. Like that kind of information is the clarity of it helps in your decision making so much. Okay, C4 is a threat.
First big threat of the game.
She goes back, and she's not really afraid of imbalances. Imbalances are your friend when you're trying to avoid a draw. So knight takes bishop wouldn't even be that big of a deal for her.
Yeah, I would have played knight takes bishop, but yeah. She's trying to get imbalances, as you said. Sometimes the score of the tournament dictates the way you play. Drawing and losing.
C4,
you have to.
You're right. C4 is like a half threat, right? It gets the queens off the board, and when you need to win, I can almost call it like a mini threat, so to speak.
Well, white has serious threats here by moving the knight anywhere, so black has to get something to do about that. Queen f6 seems reasonable.
Now C4 very nearly gets all of the minor pieces off the board. Not quite, because black can take a variety of different ways, but white's doing a good job of really not giving a lot of weaknesses for black to go after.
Right. Yeah, double fianchetto isn't a bad way to play for white when you need a draw, because you get very solid positions where you're going for a slight advantage.
Now, after knight takes bishop, do you think she'll take with the pawn just to keep the imbalance on the board, even though the bishop is so strong on g2?
I think you have to.
Okay.
I mean, just because of the situation. I think knight takes a better move, but as you said, we need to have some imbalances.
Yeah, that's going to go in my Chessable course, what to do when you're losing. You have to play the objectively second best move because of the practical implications. Yeah. Okay, so she did not get isolated pawns.
Here. White's threatening knight d7. Black has to do something about that. Play rook a d8, you're hanging your a pawn. So she's thinking a long time here.
Okay, so she doesn't quite allow it because the queen was hanging. Guessing she'll play queen e7. She does, guarding everything on the 7th rank. Okay, rook d7 was a threat. She offers a trade. Now positionally, how does she stop rook d7 and not lose this pawn? If she plays rook d8, her queen is overworked.
Yeah,
The
trading on
rooks will
g1
trade.
was quite bad because it gave up the d file.
Oh
Yeah, now
boy,
rook
rook
d7.
d7 and any knight move is coming. Can she deal with both threats in some miracle way? Computer says no way. I'm not seeing it, Enzu. I'm not seeing a defense to both of these ideas.
Our person in first place lost pretty quickly.
Wow.
Andrew Jing beat Banerjee. Actually, if Mendes wins this game instead of draws, he ties for first, then you guys will do your tiebreak thing to see who plays whom tomorrow.
Right. We'll do our Sonnenberg Burger or Buckles or whatever we do. Go look it up on Wikipedia. I don't feel like explaining it, and it doesn't really matter too much for tomorrow.
Okay, now Megan has a bad position, but also Megan has 15 seconds to a minute 45.
Yeah, actually, she probably played the best move. Now, will we see knight g4 or rook d7? Both moves look juicy, but rook d7 looks a little bit more to the point, if you ask me.
Yeah, and he followed your advice.
Okay, there's at least one way to blunder. Knight.
I like knight takes better, but it doesn't matter.
Knight takes queen c6, wins the rook.
Oh, that's why my move was so good.
Yeah. Anyway, don't worry about it. It's been a long day for us too. We've done a double header. Okay, now
White has connected pass pawns on the queen's side, and those are extra pawns.
I want to play rook f4, pawn takes, knight h4 miracles. It doesn't work, but what else are you supposed to do?
Time.
You're right. I think I clicked away.
Yeah,
well, there you go. A little bit of. You're right, Ben, and it's a little bit of anticlimactic finish. Although Aaron is a deserved winner of this game and a deserved semifinalist by winning when it counts. Aaron goes through. I don't think we're announcing that too early. We will click over and just take a look at the final game that we've got for completeness. Bodhana playing white here against Patrick, but we know who we're going to see tomorrow. We are going to see Aaron Mendes of Canada. We're going to see Supratit Banerjee of England, and those two players will take on our two qualifiers from this morning. We had Rayansh Chakrabarty from Australia, and we also had Victor Golis from Poland. Those will be the four that fight their way to try to become the ChessKid Under-13 Youth Champion. But let's close this out by looking at Patrick try to win against Bodhana.
Yeah, pretty easy win. 2 pass pawns. H2. Put it in H. Black has 11 seconds. That should be enough time.
Should be.
Yeah, King H3.
Okay, my team might be able to tell me after this game is over who technically won first place. I think for Sonnenberg Burger, we do actually have to wait because all games sort of matter. Okay, rook g1.
Are we going to see a king and rook checkmate or resignation? I think we'll see the checkmate. Black only has 5 seconds.
That's true. We'll see which technique Black chooses. If it's the technique I teach on ChessKid or not. No, this is the technique I don't teach on ChessKid. Although, I bet you it's the one that most pros use. I think it's the harder one to teach kids.
Yeah, I like Black's technique. I have no complaints.
Yeah, there's no wrong way to do it. I teach the technique where your rook forms a box and you make the box smaller, a la the king and queen, but whatever. Whatever works. And there you go. Patrick wins against Bodhana. In our final game, we will take a look at our final standings. Supratit, in fact, does hold on to win the group despite that last round loss. Aaron technically finishes second. And why is that important? Because it means that Supratit will play Rayansh tomorrow. That's number 1 from what you just saw versus the number 2 finisher this morning. And Victor, the number 1 finisher this morning, plays Aaron Mendes. I'm not sure if that's a benefit or not. The number 1 player he has to play tomorrow. Those will be our 2 semifinalists And Ben, why don't you call out the final standings here of Group B?
Yeah, we have Super T and Aaron tying for first with 6.5, with Super T winning on tie breaks. Tie for third, Megan and Andrew, American players. Patrick Liu, who was in last place for a lot of the tournament, won the last round. So he finishes a point ahead of Bodhana, who, like us, had to do double duty today and play a league match, then go to her hotel, then set up. And it cost her at the beginning, and I think middle to the end of the tournament, she got almost 50%, but she started with 3 losses, and that made it difficult to try to qualify.
And she's such a star. She's such a pleasant person. Remember, she's 9 years old. She can literally come back and play 3 more years, which we can't say about players like Aaron Mendes. But maybe this is Aaron's year. We'll see if he can become a ChessKid champion again. Everybody showed us something. Remember, Andrew Jing was in it until the last couple of rounds. Megan started slow and was in it until the very final moves of her game. She just couldn't find a way to create anything against Aaron Mendes in that final game. So everyone showed us something today, but 2 players will show us more tomorrow. Aaron Mendes and Super T Banerjee, as we said. We are going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the Canadian player first, International Master Aaron Mendes, and then we'll talk to the winner on tie breaks today, Super T Banerjee. So don't go anywhere. Benzu and me will ask not the tough questions, the fun questions of the kids, like which episode of Harry Potter was better. No, we're going to stick to chess. Don't go anywhere. When we come back from the break, we'll hear from both of the kids that qualified.
Hi, I'm Gukesh. I'm the world champion. Who is Gukesh's coach? Right now it's Grzegorz Gajewski. We've been working for a couple of years now. Before that it was GM Vishnu from India. Who is better, Gukesh or Prag? Gukesh. Who is Gukesh currently dating? Like Vishisa said,
who do you go out on dates with? A chessboard?
Where was Gukesh born? I was born and brought up in Chennai. I still live there, and yeah, I'm in love with the city. How old is Gukesh? I'm 18 years and like 7 or 8 months, I think, but yeah, a lot of people don't believe it. Did Gukesh drop out of school? Yes, I did. Like fourth. I mean, I stopped going regularly from around 4th grade, and yeah, now I'm just not going to school. So.
Does Hikaru have any siblings? If so, what are their names?
I know about Asuka. He was also a chess player. I don't think he really stuck with chess super long, but he was a good chess player. And I don't know of any other siblings.
Yeah, nice. What age did Fabiano stop going to school?
Okay, so Fabiano, okay, I'm trying to remember this. So I believe Okay, he and his family went to Hungary. I'm gonna guess around 2000. Fabiano is should be around the same age as Magnus, so he should be 91 or 92. You said age or grade? Is it
age?
Age. Okay, I'm gonna guess 10.
12.
12. Okay.
Hikaru ran a 5K after Norway Chess 2023. What was his time?
What's a good 5K time? I would say he probably has a pretty good time. 34 minutes? I don't know. That's a pretty good time. I mean, I was like doing like very casually just running 5K, and I didn't like go for time at all, but I would have been thrilled with 34 minutes, I think. What's the world record? Obviously Hikaru's not going for that, but I think it's like 26 minutes, a world record. Or is that 10K? I'm probably like totally off. Anyway, I'm gonna go 34 minutes.
Well, I would assume he didn't break the world record, but his time was 21:02.
So am I thinking of 10K?
What is Fabiano's middle name?
Oh, that's easy. It's Luigi.
In the London Chess Classic of 2015, Hikaru was asked to describe you using one word. He failed to do so. What words did he use?
So he used multiple words?
He used multiple words.
No idea. Maybe it wasn't very nice if he's using multiple ones.
Best guess?
I actually failing to come up with anything. Maybe he said solid. That sounds like something neutral that he would say.
He said master of preparation.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not one word at all. He needs to
work on that.
To work on his numbers.
In the London Chess Classic of 2015, Fabiano was asked to describe you using only one word. What word did he use?
Okay, so this is completely random. Completely random. I have no idea. The only person I remember ever saying something interesting were Grishuk and Tobolov. So I'll just one word to describe me in 2015. So it's December 2015, right before the candidates. I mean, I have no idea, so I'm not even just gonna say a random word. No idea at all.
Want to make a guess?
Weird. Just a guess.
The word was unpredictable.
Okay. Oh, interesting. That means he's not the only one to say that. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship. And while the games are over, now's the fun part for me and Grandmaster Ben Feingold, because we get to chat with the players. We get to hear how much deeper their voice got since we talked to them 1 year ago. And we have ourselves technically the second place finisher, although he did tie for first, International Master Aaron Mendes, the youngest IM ever from Canada. Aaron, congratulations, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to pick things up right in that last round, okay? Me and Ben had the luxury of being able to look at multi-screens and figure out what's going on. You only needed a draw against Megan in the last round because she was the one chasing you to advance. You needed only a draw, but were you even aware of that?
No, I was not aware of it. Since I was not looking at the standings after round 5, I was not aware that I only needed it.
Wow, you actually played the game in such a way that almost suggested you did know, because you just gave her absolutely no counterplay. And okay, you're an IM, you know how to dominate a chess game, but it felt to me like you were aware. I feel like maybe that was important information, don't you think?
Yeah, probably. I should have checked the standings.
Okay, well, the good news is that when you come back and play tomorrow, you're going to play knockout matches, and I'm sure you'll be able to remember one-on-one scores in your knockout matches.
Yeah.
So you're the number one player going to the event. You're the only IM. Did you feel a certain amount of pressure or expectation to advance to tomorrow's semifinals?
No, not much. I was just trying to play my best.
And you know what? You generally play your best when it comes to ChessKid events. You are the 2023 ChessKid Youth Speed Chess Champion. That was a knockout event. So do you feel like you play a little bit above your expectations in these invitational events?
I'm not sure, since I don't actually set expectations. I just try to play my best, but I blundered quite a bit this tournament.
Well, if you're blundering and still doing, what were you, +3 and advancing? That's pretty good stuff. Ben, what would you like to ask Aaron?
Well, I have a question whether we've ever met, because I went to the candidates in Toronto last year to watch the candidates tournament. Did you show up and watch it all? Was that on your agenda?
Yeah. For I actually made the move on one of the boards, one of
Oh,
the
wow.
first move on one of the boards. So I think we might have met.
Yeah, because you look
And I
familiar.
remember that. He was
Sorry.
wearing a suit, though. Were you wearing a suit, Aaron?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was not. In fact, I got interviewed that tournament by Fun Master Mike. So we've all met
Oh,
before.
nice.
I think I tried to interview Aaron, but he was a local celebrity, and too many people were trying to chat with him. I've got a question here, Aaron, from the chat from Mick Tall. I should mention because we're a chess show. Tall apparently is spelled Thal, so I don't know what that extra H is doing in there. But Mr. Mick Tall would like to know: do you want to become a chess professional later in your life?
Yes.
Good answer.
I would like to play chess professionally. Not just now,
And what do you
but
think?
even when I grow up.
What do you think it's going to take to get there?
I mean, more practice and yeah.
I would say, Ben, we've seen this out of a lot of junior players, and I think this is a lot more serious question than I was planning on asking you, Aaron. But the tough decisions are not generally made at the age of 12 or 13. The tough decision is when you get to 17 or 18 and you have to choose university or chess. Or the good news is, there are a lot of universities that have a very active chess program. So are you already thinking about that decision, or is it too early?
No, not much. I mean, it's a bit too early. Maybe in high school.
Okay. We already know your opponent for tomorrow. You're going to be playing against the player who finished first place this morning. That would be Victor Golis from Poland. Did you watch any of his games this morning? Do you know anything about him?
No, I was not following on the rounds for the Group A. So, yeah.
Yeah, you guys do live half a world away.
Yeah.
Ben, I've got a few more questions from the chat, unless you've got something yourself.
Yeah, when it seemed like when you started out the event, you started out really well, 3.5 out of 4. Then things got difficult. And I guess, as you were saying, you were blundering. Did you think when you had 3.5 out of 4, I'm definitely going to qualify? And did your mood change during the event, or did you just play one game at a time and don't care about that?
I mean, I like playing one game at a time. Like the results, I was gonna think about that like near the end of the tournament. So, yeah.
We often ask players about, your preparation and your coaching, but we've got somebody in the chat who's actually asking you to help coach them. So let me ask you this question. This is from Anime Artistanian, if I'm saying that right. What endgame practices are the best to work on? So we've got somebody in the chat looking to improve their endgame. How do you improve, for example, your endgames?
I love reading books, mainly books, and maybe doing a bit of endgame puzzles that take time and that don't actually have a concrete solution, but you just have to play it.
Yep. And I believe in the morning, we had a player, Ashwanth from Singapore, and he gave an interview about a year ago where he said Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual is his favorite book, which is pretty weird for a young kid to say that. But it just goes to show you it's never too early to be studying those endgames. Ben, do you have anything else for Aaron before we let him go?
No, I think we can let him go. He had a tough day today, and he's going to have an interesting day tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow. Hope to see some good chess.
Yeah.
Congratulations. With any luck, we'll be talking to you again tomorrow. But you'll be entering the knockout phase. You've done this before on ChessKid. So good luck versus Victor, and keep up the good work, Aaron.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, but we're not quite done, because as we let Aaron go, we've got one more player to talk to, and that, of course, is the winner, Supratit Banerjee. He's a CM, but really, he's now an FM. He's gained 170 points this year. I'm going to ask him how he did that and why he's now higher rated than me. What did he do? Well, he's good at chess. So when we come back from this break, we will hear from the winner from England, joining us from what I think is a hotel room. Lots of questions to ask Super T. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon. Very short break.
Join the community club on Chess.com and participate in amazing community events every week. On Mondays, challenge yourself with incredible openings in Opening Roulette. Don't miss on Title Tuesday every week right after Title Tuesday. On Wednesday, join Arena Kings and compete against a lineup of legendary creators. On Fridays, try the all-new Community Freestyle Fridays and throw opening theory out the window. And finally, round out the week by showing off your speed in the Community Bullet Brawl. Win prizes, battle legends, and challenge yourself. Play in the community tournaments every week on Chess.com.
Wear your love of chess on your sleeve with all new apparel and accessories from the Chess.com merch store. Maybe you simply want a clock that will never run out, or a mousepad that will finally unlock your speed chess potential. Whether you play chess to get energized with your morning coffee, or play into the wee hours of the night and witness the occasional alien abduction, we've got something for every king, queen, and knight in shining armor. Even gift cards for your loved ones who've caught the chess bug. So check out the Chess.com shop for apparel, accessories, and more. Grab your favorites before they're gone.
Welcome back, everybody, to the conclusion of day one of the under 13 division of the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship. We are here with the young man of the hour. It is not that man right there. That's Grandmaster Ben Feingold. He's my peer. The young man of the hour is the English talent, Super T Banerjee, who won his section today, won on tiebreaks, +3 score. Really, you're an FM. Okay, I see your rating is 2,300. You're not fooling anybody. Super T, congratulations, and thanks for joining us. All right, well, let me get to my first question. Super T, before we even talk about today's action, it looks to me like you've gained about 170 rating points Okay, we're on a little bit of a delay. 170 rating points in 2025. Did you do anything different this year to improve so quickly, or has everything just kind of come together for you? Has anything changed in 2025?
I mean, not really. I mean, it's just I had I didn't have a great year last year, and then I was just trying to work harder this year. So yeah, I've been putting in more effort.
It has definitely shown, and I apologize about our small delay. We're just going to go with it. But Super T, today, I think you played a 4 NCL match before today, just like Bodhana. Please tell me if I'm right. And what was your energy level today?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I played a grandmaster. I had a long game, but okay, and I managed to draw, and then I still felt like I had quite a bit of energy for this tournament. So I came with I was quite excited to play.
We just talked with Aaron Mendes, who told us he was not watching the standings very much. Were you following the standings as you were playing the event?
Much I
For Super T.
Yeah, I want to ask the same question I asked this morning to the winner. Came into the event before the first round. Did you think I'm going to qualify? I'm going to come in the top two. Did you have expectations, or did you just play one game at a time and figure we'll see how it goes?
I mean, I did a bit of both. I mean, at the beginning, I was I'll just try and take it one game at a time, and then we'll see how I'm doing in the middle. But then towards the end, I was starting to feel, yeah, okay, I'm going to come into the top two, and I'm going to try and win this event, yeah.
Well, I know you've had a very long day, so I don't want to keep you any longer. You probably have dinner to eat. So I'm just going to ask you tomorrow, you're going to be playing against the Australian kid, Rayansh Chakrabarty. I seriously doubt you watched his games because you were playing your league game. But do you know anything about Rayansh? Are you going to be studying for him tonight? Tell us about what your plan is.
I mean, mostly for tonight, I'm going to just rest a bit, and then prepare for for tomorrow in the league game first, and then okay, I do know him a bit, but yeah, I think I'll just go with the flow. I mean, it's Blitz, and I can't really care too much.
That's a very good attitude. Well, thank you so much for your time, Super T. Please make sure your parents check their email because we're going to be organizing the timing of your matches tomorrow. So that's on you to tell your parents to check their email tonight so we can figure all that out because we want to make sure we work around your 4 NCL league match tomorrow. But congratulations. Get some good dinner, get some sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow, Super T.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay, so we'll say goodbye to Super T. He's still on a little bit of a lag there. But no matter if his internet connection wasn't the best, his chess was the best as he finishes in first place. It will be England versus Australia, Canada versus Poland tomorrow. It's an Olympic affair, I guess. I don't know what to say, but pretty exciting stuff. Ben, any final thoughts on this doubleheader?
Yeah, this was really exciting, and I think that winners were deserved. We saw a lot of decisive games, a lot of back and forth. The games were fun, lots of time trouble, and I can't wait for tomorrow. Hope everybody who's watching joins us tomorrow for the semifinals and finals. It's going to be exciting.
Exactly. And the timing of tomorrow's match is a little bit up in the air. It may be 11 a.m. Eastern, but it is not set in stone. And the whole reason it's not set in stone is because we have players from all over the world, and we're going to try to accommodate their schedules and their time zones. And in fact, with an Australian player and a Canadian player, we're just going to do our best. So it might be 11 a.m. tomorrow, but please check all of the social media accounts. We will, of course, announce it once we finalize it with all 4 players. But one thing we do know, we know the 4 kids. We know Grandmaster Ben Feingold will be back. He's streaming tonight. He's got a triple header. So, Ben, I'm going to advise you to get some rest and to get some good dinner as well. I will email Karen and make sure she makes your favorite meatloaf. But you're a vegetarian like me.
I used to be a vegetarian like you, but now I'm a vegan.
You're again, you're one level higher than me, but it was a pleasure. Okay. All right. Well, it's going to be a meatless loaf, but we had plenty of meaty action today. That's terrible. I'm sorry I said that. That's a good one to close us out on. Thank you so much, Grandmaster Ben Feingold. The semifinals and finals, the knockout portion tomorrow of the 2025 ChessKid Youth Championship under 13 division. We will see you guys then.